If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rule. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd here. We have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Here to review an epic show, talk about a great album, and man, we got a lot to discuss. We had an awesome weekend in Texas. This is my first time ever in Texas. A lot of fun, met a lot of people, met, people that are podcasters on this network. Met a lot of listeners. Shout out to my man Corey from Detroit. Listens every week, he told me.
He's a mystery. He's a mystery man that had that along with Black Saber Jr. wears the One Nation Radio shirts at AEW shows. We had no idea. We finally met him though. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, it was so dope, man. And it was like a real humbling feeling. There were so many people walking up to me just saying they follow my Twitter and really enjoy my tweets and stuff like that. And, I felt like, I felt blessed to even, have people walk up to me, because it was like, there were times that we would show up to these weekends, no one would walk up to us or whatever. But
right.
It's pretty cool that, just turn the mic on and, want to, talk to my best friend here, that, people really this sticks with people during their work days, during their hard times, during their good times. And it just made me feel like we actually offer something to, the greater wrestling world here. And so many people like also in the business, I'm just walking around and, just people showing me love, just all around. I don't want to start name dropping and everything, but, just there's a lot. Let's just say that. That really, fuck with, the stuff that, we do here. And it's very much appreciated. And I had a blast, man. How about you, man?
I mean, outside of like Friday morning or Friday afternoon, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Like, I thought it was a pretty good time. So yeah, man. Met people that I was never expecting to meet. Like, you know how it is when you talk to people online. Just like, all right, meeting people online is one thing. Meeting them in real life is different. You might find out you don't actually like these people. And luckily, none of that happened. I ran into everybody. I had a blast. We ran into Dream Sooner finally. That's cool. Yep. That's a cool laid back.
Shout out to Dream Sooner.
That's a cool laid back dude. Like, there's something about
self-made guys.
Say again.
I said shout out to the self-made guys and Suit Williams.
Yep. Yep, ran into Suit as well. Suit was super cool. Suit was sitting down, and we ended up talking about. Was it him that told us about the Seth injury?
I think it was, but I think that shit is all up in the air now. Like
man.
It's like it might be a work and all this other shit. Like so,
I didn't know that, man. But yeah, man, it was fun. It was really fun and good to see everybody. I gotta say though, one thing I would like to point out is that I ran into Trish, Sarah, and Allie and Leah, and I was not met with baseball bats. I thought, Trish and Sarah's one thing. They're more reserved, but I thought that possibly Leah and Allie were going to meet. I thought they brought the baseball bats in the luggage, like maybe can't fit that in the carry on, but put it in the checked luggage to come whoop my ass after I've been talking shit about Chuck Taylor for a while. But instead, Leah saw me and she gave me the biggest hug, and she was so happy to see me, and I felt really good. I was like, I can't let my guard down yet though, but because there might be a ploy, but it was all love. It was very fun. I enjoyed my time. It was cool to hear Trish tell me about like her favorite places in Japan. That was all fun. Because we met. Yeah, I walked. We had 2 days, but that was fun.
Yeah, I walked back and we had a party for the podcasters pretty much, and invited a couple other folks I know that do stuff. Shout out to Emmy and Mage that came through. Came back in, and when I first walked in, I was walking in with a bunch of food and all that. And when I walk in, like they damn near like all start cheering and clapping for me and all that stuff excited to see me. I was like, man, are you guys that happy to see me, or are you happy that the food's here? I don't know which one, but they assured me it was, they were happy to see me. So it was pretty cool, man. Had a lot of talks with everyone as much as I could, and I thought the event was so fun itself, just walking around. And if I screamed my voice out, I didn't intend to. But when Shuri walks out, I pretty much emptied the gun.
Yeah, because that's your first time ever seeing her
locally,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, now in order for me to finally see Shuri, I had to go to Japan. Japan came to you this time, Rich.
Got lucky.
Right there, got lucky. Got lucky. As far as the trip, I saw, aside from Takumi Iroha, I've seen everybody I wanted to see in the Japan scene a couple years ago when I went on that trip, except for Takesha, and I got to see Takesha, so I was super happy for that. So the only person left is Takumi. So
nice.
At this point,
I'm trying to chase down Aja Kong.
Oh yeah, I luckily saw her once, so got lucky. But yeah, man, like it was a blast.
Shout Emily over in Scotland. Shout out to Emily from Scotland that flew over, hung out, with me and Jeremy at the show a little bit, and came over to the after party and all that. Long time listener. A lot of people, man. Just if I forget your name, I'm sorry. But there were so many people. I hate to say it like this. There were so many people that came up and talked to us. I'm just appreciative of you all.
Yeah,
except for Rogan was in the Discord. Came out to the karaoke.
Ran into
Jordan came out to the karaoke. A couple other folks.
Yeah. Do we need to talk about karaoke?
Oh, we absolutely have to talk about this because we wrote it down specifically to talk about this.
Yeah, it was like what special, let's say, if you will, things were gonna happen while we were out there. So I think it was Josh from Keepin It Strong Style suggested we go to a karaoke bar named G. Willikers. And
a 7-day-a-week karaoke establishment, which I feel like every town should have.
Yeah. In retrospect, yes, everyone should have it. So, get there, and there is a blind man with the full-on walking stick thing, all that. And he proceeds to go play darts next to us at the dart joint. And he was playing with people that he's familiar
blind man
with.
Throwing darts around.
So I was like, I made a little jokey jokes every issue. We need to move out the fucking way, and everything. Man, what they do is, and the waitress told us, they put his hand, he sticks his hand out, they walk him towards the bullseye, and then they back him up. And then between each throw, they'll say where his last throw landed. So if it goes a little right, he say go aim a little bit more left, right? This motherfucker never missed a shot. He not only did he not miss a shot, at one point he hit this blind man with the walking stick gimmick, hit a bullseye, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Multiple bullseyes.
It ain't like this was one lucky one. There were multiple ones where he was like an inch away from bullseyes. I was like, all right, okay, man, this is a bit too much for me. You know what? I just got off the plane. I'm the last person to fly. I flew in the latest out of everybody in our particular group. I need to go grab some protein or whatever else to keep my weight where I want it. Went to Popeyes, came back to the bar. I come back, and by the time I'm on the way back, Rich then proceeds to tell me that in between the time I left and the time his game of the blind man's game of darts, he decides to come upstage and perform karaoke. Now, the special thing about this particular, the magical thing about this particular karaoke bar is somewhere in fucking Arlington / Fort Worth, Texas, is that everybody at this particular karaoke bar is good enough to be the best person you hear in any given night of drunk karaoke you ever been to. There was a white man that sang Etta James at last and did a great job covering that song. I never even knew that a white man would even want to cover that song that wasn't gay, let alone whatever. Killed it. There was another dude, killed it. I had left.
There was a lady that sang in Spanish.
Yes,
it was awesome.
It was very good. Yes. So there were four people. It was four people that were good enough to be the best person you heard on karaoke on any given night.
And this guy, the blind man,
there we go,
comes up there just so soulful. This is one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life. He just cocks it back. The man's blind. He's got the stick in his hand while he's singing this stuff, and he's singing all types of soulful stuff. I actually have audio samples because I took them and sent them to the group.
No. I'm playing them. I'm going to tell, because you told me, you said this, and I was like, whatever, on the drive back from Popeyes, and then you played the audio, and I was like, nah. So, it was in the All In chat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I am scrolling up right now to get to it.
And this guy's got to be in his mid-50s, maybe early 60s. I don't know, something like that. But then he just like cocks back and just throws up 100, essentially.
Rich sent us a message. He hit another bullseye. At James, all caps. The blind man is an incredible singer, laughing my ass off with 3 O's. You said this. All right, hold on. I gotta mute our chat that I have up there now.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it? Can you hear it now?
Like it's drowning you.
Oh, you play it, Rich.
You play it.
You play it. You do it.
Yeah.
I cannot hear from my end. Maybe it's a trick or whatever else, but I'll fill it in later. But yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then I was like, all right, man, I've seen a blind man hit bullseyes. Y'all be safe in Dallas. I texted it out. Because it's like, if this is what we get night one, who knows if we're going to get in the rest of this area with some nonsense the rest of the weekend. Luckily, there was no other nonsense from the locals. So yeah, had a blast, had fun. Was Rich any other memorable moments you want to talk about on the show?
I think the highlight, Friday night was pretty dope. Just getting to kick it with everybody at our watch party for the ROH show, which we barely watch ROH except the main event.
Had a blast, had fun. Sorry, go ahead.
Saturday, I want to say. We went on a Saturday. We all decided to have Whataburger. We skipped our intended workout. I was out so late the night before at Swerve's concert. I was out there with Swerve Montesi. Buckwheat from 94.1 was there. Saw him, and we lost our damn minds. talking to each other because, you know, we hadn't seen each other in, you know, a few years. And he's apparently friends with Montezi. So it's all like, you know, all the roads are crossing here because, oh, this your man. Okay, this is my dog. Like, and, you know, kind of updated him on everything I've been doing with music. And, you know, he gave me a lot of words of encouragement. Swerve and Tease's performance went super well. They shouted me out a bunch of times or whatever, and like would point me out in the crowd, you know, saying, you know, this guy's made, you know, this beat, he did this. So it was cool as fuck. You know, hung out with Kevin Knight, saw Seahawk out there, saw Shane T out there, saw a couple people that were involved in wrestling media elsewhere. Saw, you know, after All In, saw Lyric, saw the Grab City guys. A lot of people. So people just walking up, liking the shirts we were wearing and stuff like that. So, you know, and it was just like, damn, like there's so many of us out here. And it's like, when I say so many of us, there's like so many black folks that kind of contribute to, you know, the greater wrestling community at large. And they fought with us and we fought with them. And, you know, I think it's going to be pretty cool when we start crossing some of these bridges, like, because we all kind of like make our stuff in our own lane, but we don't always, you know, get a chance to work with each other. But you're probably going to see something with the self-made guys and us very soon made those connects. And just seeing where everybody's like growing to and graduating to, like in doing this, because, you know, when we got in this thing, it was a long time ago at this point. It was like, yo, who are going to be the new voices that are going to step up for this shit? And as y'all can see with some of this coverage that, you know, a lot of people have out here, you know, you're not as good as you always going to be. And then sometimes you end up washed. I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but there are people here to replace them. Let's just say that. And I would consider us amongst them, along with, you know, some of the other people I just named. I think that on top of that, the show was just fucking incredible. Like, and it was just like one of the most fun wrestling experiences I had in my life. And thank you to Floyd for hooking us up, you know, to making sure we were there. You know, I bought him a big, huge drink or whatever, sent it to him. You know, and I could, you know, I just really appreciate Floyd, and you know, it's just a joy anytime we see him. And he just adds new friends. We got to meet another cat named Ron, who Floyd just met. That was pretty cool, and he lives out by me or whatever. So hopefully we can all keep in contact and all that.
Yeah, man, it was super fun, and as you mentioned, like, I think I said this to, I think it was funny because like Kevin Knight actually mentioned this. He's like, just this kind of same thing that you said, is like the idea of like the amount of seeing or getting to and relating to like the black people in wrestling and wrestling media, like he finds it important, and I was like, yeah, he's right. And I'm summarizing what he said. I don't want to talk too much about it, but like, it was cool to meet him and everything. And like, then I thought about like, I put out a tweet about him and Speedball getting geeked out a couple weeks ago, how I didn't like it or whatever else. But like, without context, you would think I was calling him a geek. I hope that don't piss him off, but whatever. Yeah, man. But yeah, like it was fun seeing everybody out there. It was good seeing Lyric. It was good seeing the Grab City guys, whatever else. It was actually interesting because like I didn't expect Rez Memory at all, and he did. And I was like, wow, like that's crazy. But it was cool to meet everybody again, and everything. And yeah, man. Hopefully I get to see all y'all again some other time. And like, you know, the Tunnel Talk girls, they were all like, hey, we doing this again? And I was like, yeah, you know, we are. You know, we have soft plans for London 2026. So I'm in on the soft launch. We'll see how it goes.
I'll have to see about that one. Yeah. Look, United States, I might be able to do. It might be a little more difficult to leave the country, but we'll see how that goes.
Right.
But yeah, man, let's do it, man. Let's talk about AEW All In 2025. We just talk about like the attendance for this show is like at least 29,000. They're saying like it's in the 30 range. I don't know, but that shit looked like it was pretty much all full except one section on the left.
What about the turnstile count? We going to do that?
Look, they haven't emerged with that foolishness yet, but I'm sure they will.
It's only a matter of time.
The stage setup, when I walked in, I was like, "Oh, this feels like a Wrestle Kingdom," and it's kind of like the amount of people that are at a Wrestle Kingdom too, and like the baseball stadium. I was like, "Man, this must be what it feels like." I love the setup.
It's very close. Yeah, it's very close as far as like the setup. Like it's a little bit as far as you are in the stage is basically the outfield.
There he is.
I dropped out?
Yep, I got you back.
Okay. All right. I don't know what the last thing you heard.
I say about the sound traveling and all that, and I think the sound bounced around pretty good to where it was like the chance like when stuff would get over, you would hear it, and it was interesting seeing how everyone, all the reactions in the building to everything, and we got so much to break down here. I guess we should just start with the beginning. I got there during the pre-show. There was a lot of stuff in the pre-show that was fun. Nice tag matches. I thought the FTR and Outrunners thing was enjoyable. I thought Big Boom AJ was a delight once again with Tomohiro Ishii doing the doing the fire up with him. They were both no selling. I found that to be hilarious. So Shin Nihon getting the rub from Big Boom AJ. Big Boom AJ helping drive New Japan World subscriptions for the G1. So send that to your nearest pure elitist person. See what they think of it. We opened up with the trios match with the Ops against the Death Riders, and this was Shibata, Hobbs, and Joe taking on Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, and Gabe Kidd. So like a big topic of discussion around all of this, where people were saying that the crowd sucked at the beginning of the show. I didn't feel like it did in the building. I thought it was like appropriate. The reactions were appropriate because like this wasn't some laser light show, I don't think. And then this wasn't like a match of the year candidate. This was like just a solid match with like a lot of guys that I wouldn't call like super workers at this point.
So here's the thing with this, right? I was in the audience. The crowd was into this match the whole time. I've watched a TV copy of this on the way back. On the TV copy, it looked like the crowd didn't give a flying fuck. That's a miking issue, right? I'll give you another example because I've watched the first two matches. When you watched the Gauntlet Battle Royal. Now, Rich, you were in the crowd. How did that crowd react to Mystico's entrance?
People were up singing and like all into it, and like I was pulling out the lyrics to sing it. Like the crowd like loved it. Like he was like the most over person by the time that he got in. Right
now, if you watch the TV copy, it looks like we didn't give a flying fuck about Mystico or that song. It's nuts. Like this is
crazy.
There's been times where people talk about these crowds suck, blah 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 blah, and they talk about no, the crowd was hyping, and sometimes you believe, and sometimes you don't. I have never been in a crowd where the difference from what it comes off on TV compared to the crowd is so different. This was a great crowd. This crowd reacted to basically everything the way you would hope for it. But the TV copy, it made it seem like they gave a fuck. Like, bro, they didn't like it. Made it sound like it. No one gave a fuck until Yuta was up in muscle buster position to get for the match finish during that trios match, which we were there. That ain't true. Like people pop big for Joe versus Gabe Kidd, right? Like, people lost their minds.
And also, I think it's important to note. I think, like I said before, the crowd reacted appropriately. They were not supposed to like blow their essentially voices on this because all this shit that's to come. This was actually what I felt thinking about it. This was a match that didn't have an opener on it, or excuse me, this is a card that didn't actually have an opener on it. Like, as we would define the tradition, go send out, send this hot match. Like going into it, I was having a conversation with people in the company. I was like, we were having a debate. What would you open with? And we all had different answers. And by the time like the trios came, I was like, I guess, yeah. I mean, that just happens to be what they picked.
That's the answer in the what is most likely to, as the show goes along, people won't, get up and, be like, I'm over this or I need a break. So yeah, that was a good place for it because like that crowd could easily not care about that match. I think another match that struggled with this was the as far as we'll get to it when we get to it. But anyway, like yeah, it's just flat out for those that were watching on the TV copy, whatever else. I was there. It's so starkly different. People are losing their minds during that Mystico entrance, but like you can see like on the TV copy, like them like cutting cameras to find people like singing it with like groups of people that have Mexican flags that are singing because they can't find a good shot otherwise of like the crowd engaging with while they're taking these wide shots of it, and the people kind of like it doesn't like they're into it the way like it was written in Mexico, and obviously it wouldn't be, but like that crowd was singing that shit, and I was there, and like, hey, there are a lot of Mexicans in Dallas, and they were singing that shit. They knew the words and all that shit. I was there, and people were like, we were up and we were waving, and people had the flash, the flashes on their phone, waving back and forth and all that kind of stuff. It didn't capture it the way it was, the way that you would have hoped. So hopefully they figure out whatever the situation is to have that disconnect. But like this crowd's reactions to stuff throughout, the first hour of the night were far superior to whatever it came out on TV. Just out because I was there, and you could hear other pockets of the crowd chanting stuff, but in the TV copy you can't hear nothing. It seems like it's kind of like just a silent crowd.
So this ended with the Ops getting the win. I believe it was Samoa Joe that got the choke on Yuta, if I'm not mistaken.
So they were basically broke into a 6-way. Last week, two legal people were Joe and Yuta. I don't want to forget, there was a spot where Yuta was on the top rope. Claudio got Hobbs up on the shoulder. They were looking for what would look like a demolition device, and as Yuta jumped off, Hobbs turned it into a power slam off of Cesaro's shoulder. We in the crowd lost our shit for it. On the TV copy, you hear a loud, oh, like it was a big spot, and then they immediately would die back down. It was crazy, this thing. But anyway, the finish is Shibata. Yeah. They basically hit 3 moves on Yuta. The last move was Shibata hitting the running kick in the corner to Yuta, who was on the top turnbuckle, which led Joe to run in, grab him, and hit him with the spinning, get him up in multiple position, spun around a few times, and then dropped him for the pin. Okay. So after they got the win, Death Riders beat up the rest of the Ops, and then Claudio Pillmanized Joe's neck, and they stretched him off, which, on commentary, they mentioned, like, that means that, like, given, the main event, like, there probably won't be any Ops backup or protection to help Hangman Page against Death Riders, which I thought was a good story. I haven't watched all of it to see how they communicated the rest of it during the main event, but like I was like, that was a good setup for the main event.
Yeah. So we from there went to the Casino Gauntlet match. MJF came out roundly booed by everybody. There were people in MJF in our section that were going crazy for him. Yeah. Mark Briscoe was the second person in. Everyone that ended up in this match was Anthony Bowens, Bandito, who's fresh off that classic match he had with Takeshita at ROH. If you have not seen that, go out of your way to see that match. Yeah. Easy 5 stars. Yeah. One of the best matches of the year.
Yes.
The match that we always pictured Bandito and Takeshita having, that was it.
Yeah.
Brody King, Josh Alexander, Juice Robinson returned. I actually got to meet Juice at the hotel Thursday. Takeshita, the previously mentioned Kota Ibushi, who we lost our shit for in the building. Mark Briscoe, Max Caster, Mystico, Ricochet, Roderick Strong, and the Beast Mortos. So, like, every successive person, it just seemed like, yo, there's another great worker in here. Yep. There's another great worker in here. There's a cool combination I never thought about. Kota Ibushi and Ricochet. I remember 2014, they had, this all-time classic junior match against each other. I was seeing Ricochet and Mystico in there.
Right.
Takeshita and Bandito once again facing off. Takeshita and Ricochet. Takeshita and Mystico. Like MJF and Ricochet were in there with each other. Mark Briscoe, Kota Ibushi, and Roderick Strong. Like, it was just like, everywhere you look, there's somebody awesome.
Yep. And like, it was just crazy. Like, this roster's loaded. Every time there's new interest, like, this roster's loaded. Like, you're trying to
I think this went a tad too long, maybe like 5 minutes too long for this match, but I'm not going to complain about a Casino Gauntlets because it's like the best of a Royal Rumble, essentially, with like a lot better control, kind of, because you're not beholden to the over-the-top rope rules.
Yeah. So there's one thing I also want to mention on commentary when listening to the TV copy. Hey, don't put MVP on commentary anymore.
No.
Okay.
What was he talking about?
So Mystical comes out. Now, I don't know if they recognize that their audio is having issues to portray what this crowd sounds like, right? But they're doing the entrance, and he's, Mystico's hyping the crowd up and just singing everything, and we're there. They're losing it, but on the TV copy, I don't see them. They're losing it. So MVP proceeds to say, "Why are they not attacking him?" He's undercutting the moment. He's undercutting the pageantry of the magic of pro wrestling. It's like, what are you? You've been in this business long to know to know. Like, you don't point that out. You're exposing the magic trick. So yeah, it was bad. It was like, man, I don't. Okay, but anyway. Then at the end of the match, when MJF wins,
we'll get to the Hurt Syndicate later, but yeah,
can we just talk?
MJF wins.
MJF wins. On commentary, they put over. You know how we mentioned how he did nothing in the match. Commentary put over that he did nothing in the match, and that was his strategy. They cut to a shot.
Always loved that.
They cut to a shot where MJF was basically laid out on his back with his head against the bottom of the commentary table, and while they showed the rest of the commentators saying like, yeah, he's in there, taking his lumps and kind of just, picking his spots or whatever else. And then he ended up winning by picking his spots. It's like, work harder, not smarter, great. But I don't think they fully captured that, for the live audience. But for the TV copy, the story came across well. But yeah, as I mentioned, it ain't, he'll be on his best behavior because presumably it'll be against Adam Cole or Adam Page. So there.
Yeah, MJF weasels his way back into the world title picture, which after I saw the rest of this show, I'm just like, he is not on that level.
And this is his sixth match of the year.
I hope it is a nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I hope it is a nice, brisk 1, 2, 3 pinfall. Whatever pay-per-view he gets this, challenge on, and then we can get him the fuck out of the way, along with the Hurt Syndicate, who I rapidly have grown tired of. I was like, at the show, I decided, fuck that, I'm booing these niggas. Like, I'm sorry, I've arrived. Now you have to help me out here because I went to go get some concessions by the time I heard the TNT title was being announced. But before that, Adam Cole comes out. It was announced during the pre-show that Adam Cole was not eligible to compete. I got the word, and now it's public now, I got the word shortly thereafter that it was a concussion. And it is, what follows is like one of the saddest things I've ever seen in pro wrestling. This guy comes out to the ring, you go get your pop, and cuts this heartfelt promo about, wanting to compete, but he couldn't, and wanting to just be grateful for everything he's done in his business. It pretty much does everything but tease a retirement. Apparently he wanted to retire, but they were like, hey, hold on, let's see what we can figure out. But at this point with Adam Cole, it's seeming like it's just not in his best interest to continue as a competitor. And we already know that either company would likely give this guy a job for life. Tony's already been on the record saying that. And this was just so sad, bro. I was fighting him back. Listen to this guy. I've never been some, huge Adam Cole fan or anything, but it was like, this guy is so well liked, and so many fans pop for him still, regardless if he's active, inactive, whatever. When they see him, they enjoy him. We saw when he went to Mexico, he got a huge reaction, and this was just sad as fuck, because it wasn't like, interim belt. It was like, nah, they're stripping him. So something's going on with the head injuries again for him. And this is just sad, man. Roddy and Kyle were out there, and that you knew, like, that just something, was heavy that was going on.
Yeah. When he said he's going to be gone for a long time, and he said, I don't even want to think about retirement yet, I was like, oh. And then I noticed that it's like, oh, Roddy's still out there. And now it looks like, oh, Kyle's out there. And then by the time they all got together and did the hug, I saw Kyle's face. I was like, oh, this is everything but a retirement match. Because if this wasn't a retirement promo, because if this is everything but a retirement promo, there's no need for him to come out and explain himself right now. They were like, we're going to give him his moment in front of this crowd, because this is what he came out, because he's kind of owed this, right? As far as like he's going to have this match that's been taken from him, and not only is it taken from him, it might be his career. So I thought like, this is your chance to do it now. There's no bigger crowd you're going to get in front of. And yeah, I thought that, what he said is like, this is kind of fits into to what people talk about him and say about him behind the curtain. Like, he's one of my favorite heels of the last 10 years of pro wrestling, because he's great at it, and he's great at like making the babyface he's facing the star. But he's also good at being played like a dummy and getting mad and getting all the reactions you're supposed to give when you're a bad guy. But yeah, it's just, you could tell like, forget that, even though he's good at doing that or whatever else, there's a guy that people love. And and you've always heard about how if the stream stuff he was doing, the gaming streams he would do and everything. And it's like, I feel bad. And then you start seeing the Britt Baker heartbreak emoji tweet. You see Ciampa do the face to face thing from the stuff that you did in 2019 into 20, as far as saying like it was he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. It was like, oh yeah, this ain't.
And McAfee put him over big time.
Yeah, this ain't just one of those This ain't no goodbye for injury. This might be it. So yeah, it's gonna be sad to see him go, and I just feel bad for him, because I mean, he's had zero luck in AEW health wise, zero luck.
Yeah,
it's like, this was the best wrestler in WWE.
You can't predict it.
Yeah, this was the best wrestler in WWE in 2019 in ring. He was. So I feel, and it's a guy that, like, as Rich mentioned, he's not my favorite guy. But he was a guy that when he was in NXT, he was amongst those 6 guys at the time that any of them could have been the champion at a given time. And they made him the champion post Gargano. And like, he went out there and he was balling. And I understand that people don't, that listen to the show or whatever else aren't fond of NXT or WWE during that time frame, because there was and still is to this same weekend that we just had, being anti-competitive, doing fuck shit, right? But when they were putting him in the ring against Matt Riddle or against Keith Lee or against whoever else, or Ciampa or Balor, he was going out there and balling. Or Danielson that night when they did the whole hostage situation shit in Saudi Arabia and NXT had to take over that night, him and Danielson went out there and scored 45. Like, that dude was a great wrestler. He may have not been the best wrestler in the world. He may not have been an elite wrestler, but that dude was a great wrestler in his prime. And you figure you won't get more years out of that, especially with his new crop of guys he was going to be able to wrestle. And it just, the second he showed to AEW, it's been bad break after bad break after bad break, and I feel bad for the guy. Because he's a guy that's willing to go out there. He's a guy that's willing to go out there and put other people over. Like that Adam Cole feud he had at Revolution 2022. He went out there and let Adam Page beat his ass for 20 minutes.
You'll never take away his main event. Like, it was divisive as hell with the MJF and Adam Cole, and on this show, I buried it under the earth and all that. But this guy can say, he main evented, the biggest pro wrestling show most sold tickets ever.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you got to put that on his figurative grave.
Yeah, and regardless of critically what you feel about the characters and the motivations of the match or whatever else, you can't say the wrestling in that match when it was actually wrestling wasn't great. They was out there having a good ass wrestling match, but they let the story overtake the wrestling, and mileage varies on that. Like, but even though I hated that match, I still can't say I couldn't objectively rate it as a great match. It was a great worked match. I just hated the story.
Yeah, so best wishes to Cole. Hopefully he figures something out with it, however he wants to, keep proceeding and all that. But this leads into the replacement match, which is a 4-way between Dustin Rhodes, Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara. So Rhodes and Guevara, the ROH Tag Team Champions, get thrown in here. Garcia kind of was in this galaxy already, and Kyle Fletcher was already previously in the match. Dustin Rhodes ends up winning it. I did not see any part of this match. I was at the concessions.
Match was fun. I just think a lot of the thing people talk about first and foremost with this match is a surprise shock winner. It's kind of winner where the crowd, they catch camera reactions of people standing up with like hands on their heads or arms out out like what? No one expected this. And then what happened is they cut to the camera of Dustin against the bottom turnbuckle, hands in his head crying, and they're like, or head in his hands crying, and like then the crowd was like, oh, we're into this. But like people were shocked. It was a shock win, and then the crowd realized they liked it. But yeah, I just think that they're delaying the inevitable. They did on commentary, because I actually caught this. I think it's the last match I caught on the flight back, was like commentary pointed out like this is his first AEW singles title, or his first AEW title, and it's like he's they mentioned how his run in the inaugural tournament before Brody Lee took him out, and it's like it was a hard road to get here. So it was like. And they also put over Sammy how like he was trying to get his 4th title, and then they showed Sammy kind of like he was upset, but then ultimately had to choke that down because his tag partner became the champion. But then they showed Fletcher out on the floor by the apron. He was like, I can't believe I fucking lost this. So I think there's stories in that. There's tons of stories following this.
Yeah, I honestly, I think, they got that residency coming up with Dustin Rhodes in Chicago. It's going to start this week in Chicago. I feel like Dustin Rhodes should defend this thing like 3 times at least, like, and have him like go over a couple of people or whatever. And then like it's building up like where Fletcher basically has him like, or whatever heel you pick, because he's like a sitting duck for any heel right now.
Yeah, easy
Ricochet, Fletcher, whoever the fuck. And it's like, and we already know like, I would give him a couple and see where it goes. You can have one old guy down the card that you're doing something with or whatever. And I don't think anybody has an issue with Dustin Rhodes or anything like that. Right. But it's like when it's like just overrun, like I think you can do something with this one guy in Texas. You give him this huge moment, likely in front of this crowd. He slept in his own bed that night or whatever. So like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and also it's like following the Cole moment, like you want to have a feel good moment after that. And a show that had plenty of feel good moments, like some of the very few bad moments, you want to immediately like, hey, I understand everyone said, feels negative about this Cole thing because of what happened to him, but like at least you're like, all right, well, we have another guy that everyone basically loves to death, also winning too, and he finally like crosses this thing off his bucket list, so that was cool. What was the next match?
The next match is when figuratively All In began.
Yeah, the tag match.
So we get Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. If Swerve and Will do not win, they cannot challenge for the belt for a year. The Young Bucks, if they do not win, they will lose their EVP titles. Now these entrances, which for both sides, were long but fun and amazing all at the same time. I'll start with the Ospreay one. So this Ospreay shit this man actually became an assassin of Creed. You know, he actually, you know, there was ninjas there. There was, you know, the video and all that. And I thought it was pretty cool. Like, the crowd was going nuts for Elevated. I thought it was sensational. It was long, but hey, this is the show to do the long shit on.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was a great entrance as well. I thought it was a great entrance as well. But
after that, we had Swerve's entrance, and so I think what happened here was like, so this was JoJo Offerman was out there, and I could kind of tell, I could see the curly hair somehow from way back there. I was like, oh, okay, that's JoJo, and then I realized what was happening like a lot sooner than everyone in our section did. I was like, she's singing "Ain't Nobody." Like, I can hear like the kind of remade live version that they went with, and I was like surprised. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, man, a lot of people felt like they didn't know what was happening or whatever. Right. So like, there were some of us that were going crazy for the "Ain't Nobody" thing, and we were singing it, and it was like, we was like, fuck it, if y'all don't know what's going on, we know what's going on. This shit is hard. I do think if they went with the actual song, it may have gone better, but I don't know if that has to do with clearances, with anything like that. Right. But I'm going to say this: if you can clear Final Countdown for Bryan Danielson, if this was the case, I don't know, right? If you can clear Final Countdown for Bryan Danielson for use over and over and over and over as many times as they did, you should be able to do the same thing for Swerve Strickland. I don't know anything. I'm just saying. But as far as like if this was an intentional choice, it was. Swerve and JoJo have collaborated musically. I believe she's gonna be on his new album on a track I produced. So this is not as random as it seems, but I thought this was really fucking cool. And then, you know, it drops into Swerve's regular theme, super gear for both Swerve and Will, all the gold stuff. Like, this shit was incredible.
Yeah. Now, you said for people that did know the song, so we were talking to Trish after the show. and basically what it comes down to, black people knew the song and British people knew the song.
Yes.
But the whites were confused. They're like, what?
They didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
It's just a reminder of how long it's been and how you know, his current theme now is most associated with him.
And Trish mentioned, and I think me and Trish came to the conclusion, like, next year if he go, you know, next year in London for All In, he should use that again. He should use the "Ain't Nobody" again. And yeah, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun whenever he decides to deploy that again in whatever situation. But like, he has that there, and they can't ever take that one away from him. They actually got that played.
Yep. Then the Young Bucks came out. They do their regular entrance, and then they walk over to the side, and their music stops, and then they go back to the thing that was playing at Double or Nothing, which was like the Founding Fathers kind of, you know, drummer boy drums or whatever. And there's this long
ass shit.
Yes.
Get out of here.
They get in this fucking boat. We're like, are they getting in a fucking boat? Like, what are they doing? And then they start playing like this voiceover of like just all this shit they're saying. And it's like a response to everyone. They're sailing around the stadium. And it was just, they were talking so much cash shit. It was fucking hilarious. Like, this is like, yo, man, there will never be a tag team better than the Bucks. Ever. Like, and if there is, I'm be old and gray by the time we see them. So it's like, yeah, dog, like these niggas came out here, talked so much shit, then they walked their ass to the ring through the crowd, and then they proceeded to have this match with Swerve and Will. It was like they started kind of slow at first, and the night before, or 2 days before, the night before, I caught Swerve, like we were talking, you know, before the show. He assured me they would have the match of the night, and I don't think he was wrong personally. Like, this was my favorite match for sure.
That was the best. I mean, that was the best worked match of the night. Yeah, That was
like there was he like, you know, I know I had talked to him leading up to it, and you know he told me so much of stuff was laid out, but then you know I spoke to him after the show and he was like, yeah man, we even added more that same day or whatever, and you know you work with the Bucks, you're always going to get enough time to do your thing. There is this specific sequence
flexing
in the middle
the
of the
EVP
show.
titles backstage.
Yeah, there's a specific sequence in the middle of this match where they literally just decided to press a button and just turn the fucking stadium all the way up, and it was just like everybody was waiting for something. I can assure you, the crowd on TV probably did not sound quiet then, because that shit went. It was like the first real super reaction to the.
So I saw the clip of it, Rich, and they're moving faster in the clip than like they're moving in the stadium. It was incredible.
Yes.
It was incredible. Like when they broke into the 4-way and they both ended with like, they both eat super cakes they both take Canadian destroyers and then they both no soul and they both hit, you know, either the last call or the house call or the hidden blade. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. This was like such high level tag work. I think the only tag match in AW history probably that competes with this is Kenny and Hangman versus the Bucks. I thought it was that fucking good and special.
You mean 2v2? Like regular rules?
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there.
Some people will talk about FTR and Jay White, Juice Robinson. I think that's a whole nother level, Jack. Sorry.
This is I mean, it's a 5-star match. I don't know. I have to go through it, but yeah, the only one that immediately comes to mind would be that one. Like, I mean, there's been some Bucks and FTR matches that were fucking awesome. I know people like that first FTR and Bucks match way more than we do. But yeah, it was awesome.
Bucks got a stadium classic finally. I thought the finish for me was a shock because I you know the way the storyline kind of set up. It would be at least in the later parts.
There's more interesting, compelling things as far as like how do Swerve and Ospreay, how do they survive, or do they survive? Do they break up as a friend? Like how does that turn either one of them, you know, in the year where they can't, you know, be champions or they can't challenge for the title? Like that would have been very, very interesting. So I thought that's why they were going to do it.
Then I thought about it. I was like, well, this whole thing's set up with the Bucks fucking Swerve in the beginning. So like this had to end with Swerve pinning, you know, the Bucks essentially. And that's what happened. So the Bucks lose their EVP titles or whatever. We'll see what that means for them if they strip back that aspect of whatever they're doing, but they'll figure, you know, whatever the fuck out. But this was a celebration of Swerve and Will Ospreay. It was like, all right, you guys aren't the ones in the main event, but it's like the Bucks are like the next best thing, like almost for both of these guys. They just like put together a match that was so athletic, so spectacular, and I think just compelling right down to the very end, because it could have went either way. Because I think most people were anticipating it to go the other way
because the stakes because they had good stakes for both. When you have good stakes, where it's like one's not like you could have been like it's a coin flip. Either way, it was well done.
Yep. And then the Swerve and Will relationship can grow here because now they have like a major, you know, positive aspect to their relationship to make it to where if there's ever like some type of fallout with them or a turn or, you know, competition, you know, for the main belt, like they will have successes to play on, not only failure or whatever, which can be, you know, have a lot of different layers in itself. And they're not locked out of the title picture in case, Lord forbid, someone gets hurt or they got to put someone in there, or it maintains the flexibility. So I get it on that side, but that 1 year storyline with them both banned, I tell you, that would have been, there's an alternate timeline, right? Of that being just some of the most incredible shit, I think, and I would trust them to figure it out.
I think you're right. I think this is also incredible because like this is Will Ospreay's baby as far as like this whole night, right? Like him being the moral compass that gets to the end in the final, you know, the final of the night is like for those that don't love Will Ospreay the way they love Swerve Strickland or Hangman Page, like, I think you got to start looking at it as like, why are you not putting him there yet as far as the storyteller of the character? Because the what he had to do was like, I got to go out there and I got to put over and help redeem Adam Page. He has obviously Adam Page has to do the work himself. He did that, but it's like I got to be the conduit for it. I got to be the conduit for getting to a place to where Page and Swerve is not an on-site fight thing. It's we've apologized in our own man tough ways of saying we regret what we've done to each other, right? It gets to the point now that we're like, because of Ospreay in Swerve's relationship, Swerve is officially a babyface. Before he was like he was a tweener that's hanging out with babyfaces. He still has an edge to him, all that kind of stuff. Now he's a full-on babyface, and he's gonna still keep his edge because he's Swerve, and he's good enough to still do that. You remember he'll go nuts and all that kind of stuff. But like, they get him all the way over that arc to he's actually a good guy. He's one of us. For Hangman Page to like find himself after he screwed over Dark Order, beat the hell out of and retired Christopher Daniels, go through all that stuff to the other end and be like, I'm fighting for something greater than myself, and while fighting for something greater than myself, I find myself along the way. Like, Ospreay had to be the conduit for all that stuff, and I don't think he's getting enough credit for it yet. So yeah, I thought this was tremendous. And like, I kind of wasted what I was going to say during the main event, but like, we're talking about Ospreay now, so it's like, yeah, man, he's special. Like, as a character, forget just the wrestling. He's special as a character.
Up next, we got the Casino Women's Gauntlet.
I forgot.
We got the return of
the example of being used in the match. They were, because obviously there's a point in this match or earlier during the build where like, or during I forgot what match it was, where the Young Bucks they were going to super kick Swerve with
yes, they switched it
with a loaded up, thumbtacked up shoe, and then Ospreay bit the bullet for him earlier. And then in this match, you see the progression of where Swerve is now wanting to sacrifice himself for Ospreay, because him and Ospreay have grown that close to where Swerve can trust somebody now. He couldn't trust somebody on the ascent up. He'd been through it on the other end of it, and now he can trust somebody, and that trust then leads to him saying, I'm going to fight for AEW at the end. I'm going to give this fucker that burned down the house I plan on having my grandkids grow up in. I'm going to give him the chain to choke out that I once used to choke the fuck out of him. I'm going to give it to him to choke out Moxley. Like, I thought this great storytelling.
This terrorist. We gonna get to it. Yeah. But I thought this was great, man. Super fucking match. So proud of him. Yeah. I said this nigga Swerve all caps message before the show or whatever, just like one of them game day messages, like, show these niggas who the fuck, like the Michael Irvin, style joints. So
not quite Michael Irvin. Not quite Michael Irvin. You gotta relax. Relax. I know there were times when I wasn't around Rich, but was he out here getting down like Michael Irvin to cut that promo? Go out there and show him what you made of. You gotta relax, Rich. You gotta relax.
So we got the Casino Gauntlet. We got the return of Athena to AEW. She wins this thing, and she is officially part of the AEW roster apparently now.
Yeah, she's been called
long
to
list,
the main roster of AEW.
Long list of names here, and the reactions for these people were huge in the women's match. At Alex Windsor, her theme song just fucking cracked me up. The sting at the beginning is like, Windsor? Like, it's like, I don't know how that one's gonna work. But Julia Hart got a pretty big reaction. Yep. Statlander, big reaction. Yep. Megan Bayne, Mina Shirakawa, super over. Queen Eminata is getting a little something now.
Yeah. They love
Tay Mello.
They love Tekla too.
Tekla, yep. Thunder Rosa, Willow Nightingale got a fucking huge reaction. It was just like, all right, man. When is the push? Like when is the belt push?
Yep. Crowd clapping in unison.
Yep. And then the shock of shocks, which I kind of felt like something was coming. Lord, Shuri makes her AEW debut there. They had played a vignette for an ROH the night before. I had got word that she was, around town. People were saying she was at StarCast and stuff like that. And I was like, I wonder if she's going to be in the gauntlet. I thought that might have been a bridge too far, but apparently, it wasn't. So she comes in this, and I planned to try to not scream my voice out. When I saw Shuri, all that shit went out the window, dog. Like, it was like, yo, she's here, man. Like, and it was like, I was just so happy. And I didn't expect to see Shuri here. And it was just so cool. Like I was a nice mark out there just yelling and cheering for one of my favorite wrestlers to ever live.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it was like she comes in immediately like wrestling Athena. Is like, God, that match would be fucking great. And like I saw clips of her entrance, and like that came across on TV. The crowd pop. You could hear her pop. So I was happy for that. Because in the crowd, like I was losing it, and me and Rich was losing it. So it was like I felt the crowd was losing. I didn't know how many people were. So, but they did big pop for her on TV. They cut to Mina sitting like laying out on the floor. Mina had the biggest fucking smile on her face. Like, finally, some fucking help out here. Someone that I respect and respects me can help me fight Tekla and these motherfuckers out here. So that was fun. Yeah, man, it was really cool seeing her. Like, because I haven't seen her live since I was over there. Like, it was like the mountain came to Muhammad. Like that was cool. Yeah, man. Just and then Windsor came in after her, right? Yeah. So
yeah, and that's her debut in the company as well.
Yeah. So and I mean they just had their feud over the IWGP Women's Title a couple months ago. So like they have so many options. Like, it was very similar to looking at, as you mentioned, Amanada, Tekla, Mina's there, Statlander, Willow.
This was a demonstration.
Like, they have so much fucking talent. If they use it and give it time.
Like, this is just a demonstration of like, I think they need to like emphasize, the women's side a little more because it will separate them. Like, and if one thing AEW has been good at is finding things to separate themselves from WWE. WWE did Evolution this weekend. We're not planning to talk about it or anything here because, quite frankly, fuck them for doing that. Like, because like what they're trying to do is compete for the timeline. I'm sorry, you're not fucking getting it on All In weekend. So if it gets reviewed at all, it will be next week or anything. But
I haven't watched
their show,
so I don't know.
Right. If the AEW women did a show like that or were increased in profile, I have no doubt, like, of saying like this is the best like women's division in the world. Like, not counting somebody that's a full promotion or anything that. They're just light years ahead. And yeah, I think there's so much talent here. Athena gets the win, and with Athena getting the win, for me, it didn't feel like it spoiled the other women's match, the Storm Mercedes match for me either, because feasibly she could fight either one of them. And this was her hometown. She was mega over.
Yep.
And no problem at all with her winning.
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised she won. I didn't even really thought about who was going to win, but when she won, I was like, yep, that's appropriate. Like, she has been killing it in Ring of Honor. She's been a poorly kept secret as far as what she was doing in Ring of Honor. She had the match with Mercedes that was fucking awesome earlier in the year on Dynamite. Yeah, like, there's easily, like, she wants to redeem herself versus Mercedes. There's also, they've never done a Mercedes or a Toni Storm versus Athena match, as you mentioned. Yeah, it's one of those ones that doesn't necessarily tip your hand.
Yeah. So up next, we got the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It was a Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed versus the Patriarchy. This went 18 minutes long. For me, it went a little bit too long. The Hurt Syndicate rap stuff, it was offbeat in the stadium. I don't know how it sounded on the TV copy or anything, but I was like, yo, these boys are offbeat. I don't know, somebody's head set fell out or something like that. I believe it was Smoke Dizzle up there. MVP was rapping, and it was not sounding great. Then like we get to the match, and then I'm just so like I'm tired of the Hurt Syndicate as a tag team. I'm gonna boo them. I made the decision. Y'all ain't gotta agree with me on it. It's just like I see what's going on here. And I thought this whole thing, this stunk of like, all right, we don't have a finish for Jet Speed and the Hurt Syndicate right now, right? But we have this other thing going on with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne bubbling that's set to explode. So we're going to put them in there and do the finish to get, essentially get a buy-win or a free pass out of this match. And then they're going to do the angle, so all the focus is on them. And I mean Adam Copeland after this. As soon as I saw Adam Copeland, I hit 80% on Adam Copeland. Tired of him. Christian can go too at this point. And I'm tired of Hurt Syndicate, personally. I think these tag belts are being done a disservice, especially what we saw earlier in the night with the tag teams. I think this was more of an angle disguised as a match. And the Hurt Syndicate tend to not have great matches on pay-per-views. And this is All Elite Wrestling. I want to watch fucking great matches. And they're big. They're cool. They do all these things, right? Who's going to get over facing them? At this point, it feels like a mystery. Because I think Jet Speed, I feel like Jet Speed, if you want to go with them in the short term, work a lot better with the prospect of a Swerve and Will on the horizon, of a Golden Lovers, of something like that. The Hurt Syndicate has these things. It feels like a conduit of guys. Yeah, the Bucks. It feels like FTR. It feels like all these guys that are in the incubator for something else, and then MJF is kind of like hobnobbing around that. So for me, I think it's just I'm over it at this point. I've seen it. What's next?
Yeah, I feel a lot of the same. I did not watch this match. This match was coming out, and I was like, okay, I'm 6'4". I'm sitting in it, and I weigh I walk at this point in time. I was probably like 280, given a weekend. And I'm like, okay, my knees hurt from sitting in this cramped seat. I'm going to get my ass up, and then keep in mind, this was a good cushion seat. Anyway. I was like, all right, I need to get up, stretch my legs, all that kind of stuff. I walked around, went to, was like, oh, they're selling, because I actually bought like a $35 thing of margarita when I got there. Now, it was the best taste of margarita I probably ever had, but still $35. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a slushie. When to go get a slushie, $8. All right, that's not bad for a slushie here in this situation. The cup was like this big, like 2 inches big. I was like, not doing that. So I bought a Coke for like $7. It's like, I don't even really want a Coke. And that's when I ran into Sarah. And then I went over to where Sarah and the rest of Talk was sitting. I hung out with them for a few minutes, and then I went back to my seat and then sat down. The match was wrapping up just then. And then I heard that Trish got pinned. I was like, oh, Copeland's coming out. And then I saw, the Nick Wayne turn. I was like, oh, Copeland's coming out here. So I was like, oh. So all of this, didn't watch the match. Forgive me. I'll get around to watching when I watch the full thing. And I was like, okay, so this match, they built this whole thing with Jet Speed and Hurt Syndicate, where they beat the shit out of Jet Speed, and they're supposed to have a match to prove that they can hang with these big buff necks. That they could, right? And then Christian and Nick Wayne come in here out of nowhere. I was like, why the fuck did this happen? And I was like, oh, light bulb. It's all for Copeland to get his big interest, and they can start the whole Copeland and Christian tag team retirement tour run. And I was like, okay, I don't mind that, but it's like, kid, this is something you save for TV the next week, not for the big pop during the fucking match for pay-per-view. Get this out of here. This had no business being here. This stunk of, I need to get my pop at the big show. That's what it stunk up, because there's no reason why this couldn't. There's no reason why they were throwing this thing. Hey, look, I know there were never any tag team, or there were tag team rankings. Weren't there at a point in time? Bring the rankings back. That would have. If we bring the rankings back, we ain't got to do shit like this. Because it'd be like, oh, I can't just shoehorn this shit that don't have no business being here, and it's inorganic. People can see right through it. And then, like, once something happens, I can immediately be like, oh, this person that's cynical, and just point to where all this came from, right? Like, it will make you have to earn this, as opposed to what we've been getting much of the year over time. It's like a lot of this stuff is just.
And I think they're.
Go ahead.
I think their attempt to try to quote unquote earn it is having Copeland say, "Go find yourself," before I just immediately forgive you. But that you already you got the pop Edge, and then one more thing, it's just fucking Edge. Like, I heard people like going crazy and popping and losing their mind. It's Edge at the end of the day. It's always going to be just Edge. Like, nothing's going to happen. It's the same nigga, bro. Like, this nigga contributes nothing, bro. Like, 80%. Like, I'm done. I don't care about the Edge and Christian reunion and tag team stuff. No, bro. I have Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay teaming up right now. Why the fuck would I care about Edge? Well, I have the Golden Lovers possibly teaming up right now. Why would I care about Edge and Christian now?
I would say this: if you're going to have a deep division, you're going to have more than one tag feud on these pay-per-views. So I'm okay with them being around and wrestling those guys like as the like the Young Bucks. Like, someone has to wrestle whenever they get the belts off of Hurt Business, right? And like as you mentioned, there's going to be FTR, there's going to be Young Bucks, there's going to be Golden Lovers, there's going to be Ospreay and Swerve, Edge and Christian. Like, there's going to be 2 or 3 TV feuds / pay-per-view feuds that will be going on percolating at the same time. So I'm fine with them being in the mix for that. I don't think, but it would be a mistake if you're all of a sudden like, yeah, they're going to get a tag team title run. Get the fuck out of here with that. Get out of here with that. But like, at least if you are going to have the tag team run for Edge and Christian, you have tag team established with it. And we for so long we've been like, yeah, bro, there's tag team division in place. Or about 2 years now, there's been a tag team division in place. You could do it and whatever else, and they've just never done it. Like, when they had the time to do, Jericho and possibly Guevara, and now Guevara's in a tag team, but it's not even with Jericho anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've had the time to do this and recommit to the tag division, and they've always been these stops and starts. Now it's time to do it. So now it's like, okay, if you're gonna have Kenny Omega, Swerve, Ospreay, the Young Bucks, FTR, how many niggas you gonna pay? Lots of money to not have a tag division worth a damn. This now is like, there's too much money involved for them not to ignore it again. So I'm actually, from that perspective, fundamentally, I'm okay with this, because like, this now puts more pressure on them now to actually have to reinvest in the tag division. But I get it. But I definitely get it with you being like, I'm enough for these niggas, because it's like, hey man, there's no need for this to be on the show. This is an Adam Cole like career
Edge
coming to an end.
It will always be Edge at the end of the day. Like, there is nothing new coming. It's the same ring gear. It's the same promos. It's the same matches, but worse. It's the same setups for everything.
They'll be better because the tag match, and you can't old man sell forever. They'll be better matches. What I was going to say to you. Yeah. So, there's the part is the earn it, go find yourself thing. I'll add to your point of ours. That's not really earning it. He's already been turned on. There's nowhere else to go, Rich.
Did his job and then flipped him. Like,
yeah, he lost. He's gonna turn baby. He lost right there because fresh coat of paint when you turn from heel to babyface to babyface to heel. So he did the job there, and like, they're gonna have this run. And Cope said he got go find yourself. It's like, there's nowhere else for him to go other than babyface. He's got turned on the second before you came out here, dumbass. If you don't show up, what else is he gonna do? You want to be evil still? Are you unfamiliar with the pace of pro wrestling?
So, anything else on this one, James?
No.
Moving on. The AEW Women's World Title match. Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. The crowd was into this from the second the video package started.
Yep.
This was one of the most over things in the building. Tony Storm is at an over level right now.
Rich, before they got to that, can we mention at some point before this started, or before the video package, or after the video package, that Justin Roberts got on the mic and said that this is the first of your 3 main events of the night, or your triple main events. And I looked at Rich and I was disgusted. I was like, look, I've heard people try to talk about Wrestle Kingdom.
They've done this before.
Wrestle Kingdom 12.
And Double or Nothing 2024, they had to remember the 3 slots. They were like, this is a triple main event. They did it then too.
Stop fucking lying. There's only one main event and it goes on last. That's how this works. You're giving enough of these participation trophy main events. Enough of these DEI main events. There's always one at the end. Stop it.
These woke main events, James.
It ain't even, but it's not even DEI. It's just like, I'm just saying it to be funny, but like, yo, there's only one main event. If you want to use the word headline, I'm fine with it because it is headlining. But no, man. Cut the shit. There's only one main event ever.
So Tony Storm was...
Hold on, Rich. Sorry. When Jay-Z and Beyonce was going on tour, guess who was coming out last? They weren't saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce had co-main event. Jay-Z go out there, sing his rappity raps, and then Beyonce go out there in sequins and dancers and laser lights and stars and all the other shit around the universe to finish these stadiums out, because she was the main eventer, even over the greatest rapper of all time. I'm sorry, or one argument for that. I don't want to get into that, but me on my point. Like, she was the main eventer. Her and Jay-Z headline. She main evented. She came out last. People stayed for her. Now we can move on.
So Tony Storm was so over in this, in this building, and it was just like an eye opener, like for like the level I think that she's on, because she's not like over for like oh, she's the most over woman there is. No, this is like arguably one of the top 5 people in this company right now, I would say. Yeah. And even like, at Britt Baker's peak, I don't think she's
not even close.
Like, as far as like. So it got
maybe in Pittsburgh,
like the reaction for Tony was so loud and sustained. They were booing Mercedes so much, I got radicalized right there, because I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like how this is feeling right now. So I had to start cheering for Mercedes or whatever to try to balance this out. Like, it was like, nah, this feels racial. Like, I'm not riding with it. And then.
They were cheering for Tony so hard and against Mercedes so hard that Rich forgot that Mercedes is a villain. He was like, "Why are you booing her? She's American. She's a villain. Who gives a shit?" I'm sitting there looking like he has lost. I was like, well, what if I start a USA chant right now? We room for the American out here. That's a big show event, so you can pick who you want. That's hilarious.
I get it.
You can pick who you want.
But like then they'd proceed, I think, to have the best match of Tony Storm's career. I thought Mercedes was on another level. Someone heard my idea with giving the belts to the people that Mercedes was with, and she had the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders wearing all her different belts and shit. And salute for whoever passed that one along. But I thought Mercedes looked great. Great gear. Yeah. I was confused why I thought Tony Storm was dressed like a referee, and I know it's going to be some character or something that I have no idea what it is. Right. Sue me. She looked like a ref from where I was sitting. I was afraid that Mercedes was going to black out and hit the wrong person. So
yeah.
What?
This match was great. As far as her best Tony Storm matches, I think the only other match it would come close to would be the Hollywood ending, but that's not a regular rules match.
Right. Yeah, this was on another level. This was like the peak of like I feel like, in the height of Mercedes right now with this dumbass shit that's around her with the creative control and, JD from New York coming out here and shitting down his leg, trying to make up conspiracies and all that. And Sean Ross Sapp slapping him around on the timeline on a daily basis. I feel like in the middle of this, like, this is some strange creative control, James, to do a job in a stadium. 1, 2, 3. This is very, unfamiliar creative control to put someone over clean in the middle. I would love to know what type of creative control that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I said when she won. I was like, or when Tony Warren was like, so much for that creative control. And Rich, I forgot to mention, I didn't mention this yet. We were sitting next to me. I was on the end, and we had a row of tickets. I was on the end, on the left end, and Rich already laughing. And next to me is this couple, and it's right directly next to me is I don't know if they're married, but like a woman, and then the man is on the other end, and he's saying stuff like he's someone that watches the internet or listens to the internet talk or whatever else, but he can get grifted upon. So in the middle of the match, he says that Mercedes has creative control. And I had ignored him the whole night. Up until that point, I was like, no, she doesn't. And he's like, yeah, she does. I was like, okay, so is she the biggest star in AEW? No. And I had to, every time I was like, I'm just asking you this question. Do you think she's the biggest star in AEW? And he goes, no. All right. Do you think whoever else is in front of her or have creative control in a way where he can pick who wins and loses? And he stops and he thinks and he goes, no. And then I proceed to go, look, she has all these belts in different promotions. Like, typically when people have belts in multiple promotions, the one they're most responsible to, or their biggest promotion, that's where they lose the belt the first time too. And before she loses all these belts. And then he was like, it was almost like it's like, I can't believe
the light bulb came on.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe I had to fight misinformation or disinformation campaigns like this. I was also surprised at how easily he was like, he backed down after that. Because I was like, because I was in my mind, I was like, he was like, he was annoying to me as far as like, I have to suffer through this guy, but it was like, he was saying a couple of things where I was like, okay, me and him would not spend much time talking about pro wrestling. Like, this is a person that is like, that enjoys all pro wrestling, if you will. All of it's the same. And look, if you enjoy all the pro wrestling, fine. Floyd enjoys all pro wrestling, but he's not going to pretend that these are all the same things. And yeah, it was just bad. But moving on from that, it was just like, man, it was an awesome match. And I can't, if it's Athena and Toni Storm, that's a new challenger for Toni Storm. And like, quite honestly, this could be like if they want to just have Athena just cut her down, that'd be the way to get over immediately. So it
would be time, because at this point now Tony's pretty much cleaned the division out, kind of, at this point, aside from Athena. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest win of her career, beating Mercedes here. And, Josh Smith from Keepin It Strong Style long argued that on the biggest stage, this is where Mercedes should do a job, because it would make sense, because it will still give her something. One, she's bulletproof, and it will still give her something going forward. She's going to have to come off all them belts and then really win the big one, like, eventually. Like, so this is like the beginning of Mercedes Moné's real story in AEW, I feel like. And I just thought it was so well worked. I thought the crowd was just on their feet in a way that reminded me of watching, like, Kazuchika Okada and Jay White at Madison Square Garden. It just felt like everyone's on their feet, living and dying with every near fall toward the end of this match. This was a really great day. If you've been out here on this Toni Storm stuff, like, you've been banging the drum for this, like, this is a day where she made you very proud. I thought Mercedes was out of this world. Like, this was like, I've seen her heel performances for 10 years, and it was like, for me, she always worked a little bit better as a heel. Mm-hmm. I would love her to be a babyface or whatever, but it just doesn't tend to work like that. Yeah. I think she has people wrapped the fuck around her finger right now with this creative control thing that they choose to believe. They want to get work, let them, or whatever, right? But she's like someone that will take all of that and lean into it and really just like put people on the grill and make them look dumb. Like, she's so great. Like, in a lot of ways, this is Toni Storm's crowning moment, but it kind of was Mercedes Moné's too. It was like,
I mean, she's had so many of them that you can't. I don't know if you can really call it that for her because she's done it so many times, right? Like whether it's the Bianca match or it's Brooklyn or it's or it's these other the best basically having the best match at WrestleMania 32. Like she's done this a lot. Like this is another one that goes on the list. Like if you want to do the whole Kobe Bryant in the statues or whatever else, I guess it's one of the 5 trophies. Sure.
Absolutely, yeah. But this was just like
for Toni though. This was big time for her. Like I mean, this show when the shit first started, I found it amusing and great and everything. And Rich was like, yeah, it's amusing and everything, but like these matches stink. And then the matches started going, and then it's like she's figured out how to make this work in the ring with the shit. Like also her character with like the actually having a heart inside of the gimmick, similar to Orange Cassidy in a way where it's like what you see at surface level is what you could take it as if you want to, but like inside there is a heart of somebody that like really wants to prove themselves at whatever obstacle they're up against, whether it's betrayal, whether it's a mountain they have to climb. Like Orange Cassidy had to climb the Mox Mountain. He failed that first time, but he eventually got him, right? With Toni, it's I got betrayed by Mariah. I went to hell and back for that, right? Like I almost had like a psychological break, but like it actually was a grift. This with Mercedes, like no one thought she was, or most people thought she was going to lose because people think so heavily in the fucking creative control shit that they were just going to lose, and then she wins this. It's like, all right, man, like, and that whole promo thing that they did the other day, or I don't know, it was a week of the Go Home Show, like but like I forgot what it was, like last 2 weeks before they got to the match, was like. This was really good, like, layering of character for Mercedes and where her point is in her career as far as, like, failure. Can you deal with failure? And Tony's talking about, like, I've climbed through hell. You've never really done that. Every time things get hard, you kind of leave. Like, it's really well done. And I thought this was really, me and you have talked about this, like, Mercedes, she historically, as Sasha Banks says, Mercedes Moné, she is not good with TV programs. I thought this was arguably the best thing she's ever done, TV, building a program on television to get to a match. And then it's like, the match was no concern for me, but then the match puts it over the top as like,
This felt like a stadium match, like a big stadium match. Like this was like, we can't, like they got people in that building for them, for sure.
Yeah.
Like people got their ass on planes. Go watch them.
Yeah, like leaving out a Double or Nothing. With Mercedes winning her match against Statlander?
Jamie.
Against Jamie, that's right. Because Jamie's hurt. Against Jamie, and then Ospreay in Paige. Like when you leave out of that, you know what at least 2 of the matches are, and you already knew that looming was Okada and Omega. Like they did a great job. Where like you leave out of one paper, you immediately know what is the triple main event for the next one. Right? From that perspective, sure. Promotional wise, yeah, but cut the shit when you talk about triple main events. Cut it. Stop it. Though you knew what the headlining matches were. You told us ahead of time to get people to get, spend their money, book their accommodations, and get their ass to Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. Yeah.
Yep. So moving on, Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada 5, international belt versus continental belt for the AEW unified belt. I'm about to preface everything I say with, I think this is a 4.5-star match. Now, I'm about to sound ungrateful, and I'm about to sound not maybe excited about it. People, if they liked it or anything. I think this is by far the worst Okada Omega match by a comfortable margin. And I'm not going to be backed off of that corner, that post, and just saying, what do you expect? They are X amount of years older. It doesn't exactly fly with me when I see Kenny Omega go out there with Gabe Kidd like that. It doesn't fly with me when Kazuchika Okada can go out there with Will Ospreay and Speedball Mike Bailey. These two on the night, I feel like, did not have it with each other to that legendary level that they once had. They decided to Don Callis this thing up at the end of the match. A lot of, the Rocky Romero run-ins. I did not appreciate that. I thought it was disrespectful to the legacy of this match. I thought the build that built this match up made Kenny Omega look like shit. And then when you combine it with the finish, it really makes him look like shit. It felt like he was winning. But, I think we all figured in regular Okada Omega, in the feud, Okada was due to win the next one, like in Madison Square Garden or whatever it would have happened, right? I was kind of unsure of who would actually win by the time this came, but for me, the finish was abrupt, came out of nowhere. This was a lot of work on the diverticulitis. It was too much. It was almost like what I feared, like as far as like what Kenny would lean into. And I know people are trying to say, oh, this is old man, physical guile style wrestling. It's like, no, bro, he doesn't need to actually do that. Like I've seen this man like still go the laser light show. And I know these guys have earned the right to tell the stories they want to tell at this point. But when I look at it as Okada Omega, those 4 matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling kind of meant something else. And what they did here deflated. I felt like the crowd was stunned at what happened. That was all around us. The young boy Josh Smith, an emotional man sometimes about pro wrestling, left the stadium after this match and was disappointed. I was disappointed as well, just because it seemed like the finish kind of came out of nowhere. Like they didn't build it up. They never got to the level where I felt like it was like, oh, we're seeing just some incredible shit. They did a few callbacks to the match, like with the dragon suplex on the top rope. The drop kick that Kenny did to back of Okada's head. I vividly recall that happening in the first match. But I was happy to see these guys in the ring. I was happy to be there for the match. I thought the entrances were great. It felt like we were about to see something classic. Ibushi was out there. And then for me, they just didn't get to that level, and I think they took the coward's way out with this thing. 4.5.
I think it's about the most disappointing 4.5-star match I think I've ever seen. Now, what's funny was after the show, walking along with Leah, she was like, "This is a great match," and I was like, "It was." But you don't understand. I was like, 1 in 4, the 2 best matches I've ever seen in my life. Right? So for me, I was disappointed. But then I started thinking to myself, the way that it ended, the part where like this actually is like, as you mentioned, it's disrespectful to the legacy of the first 4 matches, as far as the interference and run-ins and the bullshit and the Callis getting physically involved in all of it. And I thought to myself,
look, and I'm not saying, look, the second one, we know it had the shit with Cody, but for me, that never, like they were able to outdo that. They were not able to outdo this.
But that was like, I'm thinking I'm going to throw in the towel, right? That's not the same thing as people running
like
in.
They never physically got involved.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. I don't know if anyone
before somebody brings it up. I just mentioned that.
Gotcha. That's not the same thing as actual physical interference. And Callis, punching Omega and shit. Like, so for me, like seeing all that shit was going, it was like, and then Okada wins in that way. I was like, oh, they're doing another match. Forget the part where they said this is the last match. They're doing this again because like they disrespected, they're pissing you off by giving you a lesser match than what you're expecting. They have the interference. They have an out for him to do it. And then in the press conference afterwards, they say, oh yeah, this was a combined continental and international rules match. But going forward, we will be using the continental rules where I will fire anyone that interferes at ringside. What does that make you think is going to happen? It makes you think, okay, at some point they're going to wrestle each other again, and there will be no bullshit around. You're going to get the actual match. Now, should they have done that here in this spot, given it like this is 30,000 or damn near 25 to 30,000 people? I wouldn't have done that. But for a lot of people, this is a what do you call it? This is a legacy series that has been brought over from the Orient from Japan. So people don't, a lot of people that are AEW only fans that have no, AEW and only fans put together sounds funny, but, that like have only the lore and the snobby first New Japan first brought over to AEW fans like us that are disappointed in this, they might roll their eyes and be like, what, they might roll their eyes at this and be like, you know what? I don't know. I enjoyed the match and whatever else. But now you're going forward, you're not going to be, if they do a 6 match, no one's going to be like, no, cancel, never do it again. This wasn't one final heartbeat between Gargano and Ciampa. Not at all. This is
right. It didn't get to that level, but it was like, these guys are good enough to beat the stigma of importing the feud from Japan and doing it in America, and it's lesser. Like, you just kind of naturally expect that, but these guys are good enough to do it. But I saw the shape that Kazuchika Okada was in. I saw what Kenny Omega looked like walking to the ring. Right. These guys are not fat. These guys do not look a day past their prime. Mm-hmm. Like, it just didn't ring off like that. Yeah, and it was like, it was so much work on the gut, and it was just like so much selling for Kenny, and then it was just like, stand up, let's get to it.
It seems like it was completely intentional, and they absolutely were not trying to give us their best match. So for me, after that, the interference, the all that stuff, and then afterwards you get the press conference where Tony Khan says that, to me it's like, okay, this is the starting point to do Okada Omega again in America. So we're going to piss people off, and we're going to even the series up, and now it's 2-2-1, and we can do one last match. If they only want to have one more match, but then actually really do the match. Now that we have kind of the rules, and I will fire whoever else is ringside. So I think there's going to be another match. Where, when, I don't know, but I think there will be another match in AEW between those two, a singles match, in a big spot.
And it's like, did they kill the appetite for another match for it? I think that's a fair question to ask.
I think that you giving away a match that's still 4.5 stars means that you'll still want to see it again. And there's all the interference involved in it. Like, it's one of those where it's like the interference that leads to a cage match type of situation. They're going that route. Now, I don't think they're going to be doing this this year. I think they'll get to it next year or whatever.
This makes me, like, all the concerns that I had about this match is like, all right, think about the match, the way they set this shit up. They were in December, bringing Kenny Omega back in a suit. The inconsistent presentation all throughout this cannot be what was laid out on paper, and they didn't change anything from start to finish. Like, this feels...
There's been changes. There's been changes left and right.
I just don't know.
Where's the Young Bucks' involvement?
It's like the Young Bucks barely being involved in this thing at all.
Why is Callis with Okada when Okada and Takeshita have smoke, and they've yet to do that match? Yeah, these things have been changed over time. Yes, Rich. I'm not
like this.
Not only am I agreeing with you, like, I think it's kind of obvious.
So, like, just seeing it all back, and it's just like, they did 7 months on and off to do a preview match. Like, what if, like,
what if someone got hurt?
We saw how long it. Exactly. We saw how long it took to get this match in the ring.
It took over a year. They wanted to do it all in London last year.
Like, there is no tomorrow on this shit. It's like, why the fuck are we wasting, opportunities to let niggas go out there and score 50? Like, we want to just like, we gonna push it down the road. It's like, you should have booked it. Like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I'm like, if you was gonna do this, I would have rather we just left the 4 right there, and then Kenny Omega against new people, just like I called for a couple months ago. I feel like I want to see him wrestle new people. Like, they don't properly want to do the story they did, the video package, which I liked. I don't even know if really that was enough, because it's like they had to Don Callis this entire thing up. It just seems like it wasn't made for this, and I kind of at this point would have preferred them to leave it where they did. And this has nothing to do with the finish. I feel like people were stunned in the building. Like there was a reaction similar to like when the Undertaker lost at WrestleMania. It was like, hold on, what? Like that was it? Like the whole section was like just going nuts. It was like this. They were going nuts for Kenny. Like this was like.
Yeah, I always thought that Omega was
Kenny Omega crowd.
I always thought that. I'm sorry.
And it was like.
Go ahead.
Huh? No, go ahead.
Yeah, I always thought that Okada was winning this one because otherwise there's no point in continuing if you're going to continue. And then you look back and be like, okay, so like this whole story was about Omega climbing this mountain and ultimately like he kicked the mountain's ass. Okay. Like you went 3-1-1 against the mountain. One much of a mountain. So yeah, but you know, I'm with you. I was disappointed in the match, but I'm not going to pretend like the match wasn't an awesome match. It just wasn't the most awesome match I've ever seen because they've done that to me twice. You know, I got to be real. Like they've done it to me twice. So my expectations definitely influence how I feel about the match.
It's like, fuck competing with the previous 4 matches. Could you even like, are you even competing with the 3 best matches on this show? Like, no, like, it's like, what happened here? It's like, I would have never bet on this being the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially after
I
you
don't know.
decide to have
I
a
guess
4-star
I'm
match
just
with
like
Kota
a little
Ibushi.
bit perturbed. Right. It felt like he was like, you know, willing himself up, like to like, and the thing was, I don't think they were necessarily wrestling badly or anything like that.
Right.
But they were like, there was a clear intent, like, and Kenny Omega's overdoing the diverticulitis selling to where it's like, where we're like, when I said I was going to nitpick all the shit they do with him because the presentation feels fucked. Like, they are not letting him, like, be the explosive ass kicker that so many of us want to see. They're like all around and, you know, whatever. Like, it's, I don't know what fuck, like, if it is Kenny Omega coming up with this himself, if this is like a collaborative, you know, long-term kind of thing or whatever, but Kenny Omega has people that are going to live and die with him, right? As a wrestler, as a babyface, whatever. But this is I question this heavily, like as far as this strategy to, unless like this whole thing was just to enhance Kazuchika Okada, which if you look at it, who would the win do more for? It's clearly Okada. You know, this is the biggest win that he's got in the promotion, I would imagine. And it was like, okay, like is it a case of where maybe Kenny Omega's interviews are a little bit more real than we'd like to think when he talks about not having much time left, which I think he's working when he says that, a lot of that stuff. And it's like, if you're going to count on Kazuchika Okada to be an asset for you for the future, yeah, you give him this win over Kenny. Like, I get it from that standpoint. But I guess I just did not, I was so deflated. I felt like much of the crowd around me was too.
Yeah.
And it took a while to even drop into the main event after this. And then after the show, I was still thinking about Okada Omega after the show.
Maybe it's because I just figured Okada was going to win, that like it didn't hit me that way. Outside of being disappointed, being like, I thought it was going to be a better match. But yeah, my mind immediately went to it. There has to be a rematch. There's no way they're ending it like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we get to the main event.
After that, yeah, AEW World Title match, Texas Death Match. I will get the negative out the way on this, right? Which there's just a little bit of. Like, now I know I don't want to piss in everybody's cornflakes like that, right? But
it's a bloodline rules match.
Everything has to build. If everything has it, look, albeit one that makes a lot more sense than that
absolutely.
One, because people are actually directly tied.
There's no. Yeah.
Correct. Look, we're on the same page there, but like, if everything has to build to a match with like tons and tons of run-ins, as far as like if there's an epic major world title change or something like that, then I'm probably just gonna like wrestling a lot less like that. Rather, I want to see one man versus one man, like in the main event, or one woman versus one woman. You know, who's better on that night, and tell me the story in the ring. I understand the way they set it up, that it had to kind of play out this way, right? And they knocked this shit out of the park. Like, let's not fuck it up at all. Like this shit in the stadium over as fuck. This is a 5-star match of the year candidate, all that shit, right?
Yep.
But there is a certain thing that I'm just thinking of where it's like, I feel like this shit has already spread. Like, it was clearly influential what they did in that bloodline rule stuff, because all Jon Moxley wanted to do was recreate the bloodline, even though the Elite was what their bloodline was ripped off from. And I will never stop saying that until people like put 2 and 2 together, like as far as the friendships among this group, this family like thing. What the fuck do you think the Elite was with Kenny Omega, Hangman Page? Never mind that, I'm getting sidetracked. But as far as the match, like, all the run-ins made sense. Everybody was tied to this thing, and the surprises, I think, stood out. The Danielson stuff with the Blue Panther thing blew the lid off the fucking stadium.
Yep.
The Darby appearance was fucking great. These two beat the fucking shit out of each other. Like, minutes into the match, Hangman stabbing him in the head.
Yep.
He comes out with the babyface music. Finally, he's built this thing all the way back up. He's wearing white. I was shocked he didn't come out on a horse, but I guess not. So it felt like it was his night, like, for sure. Like, this was his crowd. Like, and when you feel around the building, like, all right, who's this promotion kind of belong to right now? Hangman Page, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Tony Storm.
Yep.
Tony Storm, Mercedes is up there, and it's just like, MJF, like, and it's like there has been a turnover, kind of, and for his credit, we'll talk about Moxley losing the title. We're going to talk about his performance in the match. I thought Moxley was great in this match. I thought he was physical. I thought he was, a warrior. And this was probably one of his best performances of his life.
Yes.
He definitely did not bring this energy to different points in the reign, which we'll talk about in a minute. As people tried to revision
different
this shit
points.
Up. We are not going for it. We are not going for it, and we are not letting them off the hook, and we're not letting it slide. Like, there are going to be a lot of people switching up, trying to go along and get along right now with this thing because they're so happy in the jubilation. No, we're going to evaluate this shit how we saw it from start to finish. If we want to lay this shit down month by month, we can do so. But back to the match. Hangman Page was fucking excellent in this thing.
Both of them
and it was like, this is out of this world. Go out of your way to see this match. And I think like I said, the interferences made sense. That was the thing.
Right.
Marina came out here and died for it. And it was like, yeah, man, like, we gotta talk about, I we got to ask the question, did all this stuff work? I'm like, I feel like it would have worked with anyone, if you do all the things that the Death Riders do to make yourself completely detestable, to ruin the matches. When John Cena talk about ruin wrestling, no, man, what they was doing was the real ruining of wrestling. Like, this was the House of Torture. Like there's not much difference between the House of Torture and in this. Like, I had to challenge somebody to find me the difference on this.
There's less
the only
matches.
thing they're doing is speaking Japanese, So, yeah. And it's like, Hangman Page, finally, it kind of emerges at the end with Swerve after the Young Bucks come out, which seems like the Young Bucks are the final nail in the coffin to, get rid of, Hangman, to fuck him one last time. I thought for a small moment there would be, the Bucks would be like, this is all a ruse, and we here to help Hangman or whatever. For a small second, I thought that or whatever, but then, they fought them. And then Swerve came out and, got rid of them, essentially. And, he was the last person in there, gives Hangman the chain. As you mentioned, James, earlier, Hangman, that was the chain he hung Hangman with, and it was the chain that Hangman hung Moxley with previously. Right. And this whole thing kind of mirrors their previous Texas Death match. Chokes Mox out, and Mox is fighting like hell. Like, the selling
that was one of the best
before the final tap.
That was one of the best near fall sales of a submission in a long time.
Yeah. Like someone like Chris Jericho would be proud of this, or whatever.
Jericho's really good at those too.
And it was, and Swerve's out there getting memed up now, like with the look that he had, like looking on. He basically handed the nigga the W, essentially, like, yeah, nigga, don't forget. Like,
I'm one of the Z fighters now. Rich don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but this moment was like, all right, so Will Ospreay is, Will Ospreay is like Gohan. Like, the way to explain this is, in Dragon Ball Z, the main character is Goku. He's Superman, he's John Cena, he's all that, right? But he comes across people that he fights, and then over time, after he fights them, because he doesn't kill people. If you stick around long enough in the story, and the people can stick around in the story, eventually the bad guys that were the big bosses in the fights, or whatever else, eventually become anti-heroes, and then eventually join the Z Fighters, because they grow to respect how much of a Boy Scout Goku is. Once their plots for world domination or whatever else ends, they eventually find some thread of humanity that links them back to Goku, right? So in the case of Piccolo was an alien from Namek, and he ends up having to train Goku's son Gohan to get ready for the next big battle. And because Gohan is very similar to Goku as far as being so like such a good person, eventually it rubs off on Piccolo and he becomes a member of the Z Fighters, right? So like, but he want to act like for forever, for the longest time after he starts fighting with him, he wants to act like he's distant from him, right? Like, so basically what I'm saying is like, Will Ospreay is Gohan, and like Gohan melted that evil or that wall that was put up by Swerve against anybody. Like, Will Ospreay is the conduit to get Swerve to this point with all of this. And yes, it took the conversation with Hangman Page a few days ago with them both, apologizing without apologizing and saying they both regret this decision they made, the things they've done to each other. But we're here now. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that you can tie both of them Texas Death matches with the chain directly to this match. That's over 2 years ago between all this stuff. Like, that's really cool. So yeah, man, like we're actually like almost 3 years apart. It's closer to 3 years than 2. So yeah, man, I thought this was really well done.
A lot of redemption talk.
Tons of redemption talk for both of them. For Hangman Page and for Swerve. Like, this was like two people that met each other at a point where one guy's trying to ascend to the top, the other guy has fallen from there and doesn't know if he's going to get there again. And then, like, through hatred, they both got to a point where they could be champions. One became champion, the other one was still trying to get back to that point. And ultimately, the other one lifts him or gets him through at the end. And now they don't hate each other anymore. There's at least a semblance of respect for each other. That's a really cool story. After they did some heinous shit to each other, and it's not some unrealistic thing like, where like, this is actually a pretty mature, reasonable like character behavior from both of them to come to this point. Because Hangman Page is knocking the fuck out of Nick Jackson every chance he gets in Mexico and stuff along the way. Swerve came back immediately after this almost fucked them, thought that they were helping him again. And then Page, over time, they kept showing them, like, no, actions, I keep beating their asses. I keep threatening to whoop their asses. So yeah, I thought it was well done. There's one little thing. I thought it was too cute. Swerve, being the maniacal genius that he is, expecting that all the run-outs were going to happen. Marina was going to get a second win, come and interfere, grab the briefcase or whatever else. So he deploys Nana to be underneath the scorekeeper's table to then chain her with a handcuff. That's too cute. But outside of that, I'm fine with it. And I told Trish, like, I wish that it had been a situation where when they carted off Ospreay, that is the call to action for Swerve to then finally choose to help.
Oh, Swerve ain't give a fuck about Will, dog. Like,
yeah, but look, that's a small thing, and but I think that's one of the things where I think that works. Just that, I think that optimizes it just a little bit more. But outside of that, it's still a great story, still a great time, still a great match, still a great show, and I think I really love what they're doing with these three baby faces. as them all playing off each other in that way. And, you're going to, and, not Moxie, but MJF's on his best behavior when he works with Ospreay in with Paige. So yeah, like I think like right now we're in a really good spot.
Hangman Page wins the belt back after 3 years. He gave a post game, kind of speech. Didn't know if he ever won that thing again.
That was dead.
Off air, yeah.
Yeah, I realized that happened off air, but yeah, I got jokey jokes for that.
He was personally inspired by Rich Latta, to reascend to this position. And it just like it was cool to see that guy rise back up because he's always had tons of support. The second they flipped the switch on him, it went over like gangbusters, and it felt like this guy's gonna get his real reign now, like because like in New Japan sometimes it was hey, it's not your first title reign, it's your second one that you come back and get it for. It's like, can you get it back? And are you like that? And he is now a 2-time champion, and it's set up for him to ball because like it's not a thin roster around the top. Like right. He has a lot of people to work with. He's compelling himself, and it's almost like you gotta think this guy's like one of the key stars, and he should be off to the lead for like wrestler of the year right now. And I want to start bringing up Moxley now. And the rush to retcon this whole thing of like, oh, this was great, this all paid off and stuff like that. I'm sorry, man. Like, Jon Moxley was an absolutely terroristic champion for so much of this reign, and only it got turned around once he was balling like he was on the 1960s Celtics. Like once the starting lineup for this entire thing became the Young Bucks, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and Hangman Page.
And Willow Nightingale.
He was out there left to his own devices.
Hold on, and Willow Nightingale.
Like the rush to crown him like he was doing all this great. No, this is a team effort. Like that you need to like start giving a lot more credit, because when all these people got involved is when this thing turned around. We saw the ideas with Adam Copeland that were out there. We saw with Powerhouse House. We saw with Orange Cassidy. We saw with Jay White what it all looked like. Hold on. This shit was not erased. I did not get hit with the Men in Black flashy thing. I have not been KGB'd. No.
So the funny part is people will say this or whatever, was like, well, this isn't his first defense against Adam Page in this title reign, and that match fucking sucked at World's End. That match with was Orange Cassidy and Jay White. That shit fucking sucked. So, and then they did the match with Copeland, and they did that to make it suck on purpose so they can do the hardcore match that had that crazy spike spot with Moxley. The cage match with Samoa Joe was actually one of the better ones. Like, you go through his defenses before you got to this match, and like on cage, I think we talked about this last week. On cage match, that shit's averaging like a 5 point something. No, this
some of them just got threes
like
on them.
Like the Swerve, the Swerve match has a main event pay-per-view title match with Swerve got a 3. You know how fucking bad a match has to be to do that, or how bad your layout has to be for you to do that. Like, man, it's just, it was not worth this. And the part
oh, James, I gotta add this in. And none of that shit was Swerve's fault, because he caught none of it. Right. At all for like that shit. None of that shit stuck to him. That shit stuck to Moxley at the time, and it sticks to him in retrospect, in hindsight.
Yeah, and like when this title reign started in October, and we are now in July, and this thing only stopped being bad until May, April, late April, early May, something like that. Like, no, man, a title. Saying that a 9-month title reign was good for 2 months is not a good title reign.
It was dishonest. It's dishonest.
Just because it turned around in the last 2 months does not mean it was worth the first fucking 7 months when it sucked. No. Cut the shit.
I reject it wholeheartedly.
When people,
we had to sit there through all. Look, we had to sit through all them promos that didn't make no fucking sense. Right. We had to sit through the basically trying to basically expedition dump shit on YouTube for 30 minutes that I checked out and was completely baffled by what the fuck he was saying. The ethos of this thing coming and going at a given time. When this shit all started, all those guys like Darby Allin and Hook and Orange Cassidy, all these people disappeared.
Daniel Garcia.
Right? Because, Daniel Garcia, where the fuck is he? And they kept all these people away from them, and they strategically introduced them to the storyline. But for me, that is not a credit to Jon Moxley. This is like, hey man, this shit is sinking. So we're gonna use this prestigious position, like the world title, and we're going to build everything else around it. And I know people say the business went up on Moxley's watch. I'm sorry. All the matches that were going on the last couple months, if you want to give him sole credit for that, all right, because you'll take drawing credit away from Swerve Strickland. You'll take drawing credit away from Adam Page. You'll take drawing credit away from, MJF or anybody else that's on top. That's a newer person. But if it's Jon Moxley, it just had to be, else on Moxley, business is hot. It's like, no, brother. They were doing Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet, which Drew in the building and Drew on TV. They were doing super matches. We got the return of Kenny Omega that coincided with all this. Do you think this stuff had no effect on the numbers going in a positive direction? The business damn near came together because of everything else that was hot and firing on cylinders, and this was the case for months.
Right.
Months, I tell you.
Right.
So
and also you say that the business went up. Is they also got Jeff Jarrett off their fucking TV, and all that does is help TV everywhere there's ever been.
We saw the bottom of this title reign with that the 12-person tag getting announced and all this other stuff between the Cope and Hobbs thing, and it's just
Cope. Glad you mentioned Cope.
We saw the ideas.
Glad you mentioned Cope. Rich, they at a certain point. The TV was bad. It was doom and gloom for the year, at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden they got Chris Jericho, Adam Copeland, and Jeff Jarrett off TV, and then it turned all around.
I'm sorry, I'm just not willing to 100% credit Jon Moxley for that.
The Moxley turnaround happened after that. Quality of what Jon Moxley was doing happened after that, not at the same time. So let's cut the shit, because he was a champion in January and in February, and this shit sucked. Not just stuff he was doing the whole show. And then, and as you mentioned, Kenny Omega shows back up. The Young Bucks show back up. After not being on TV all year. So, let's not do this. Let's not pretend.
Hangman Page gets cooking.
Right.
Swerve starts getting to the point to where it feels criminal to not put the belt on him at that time. They basically... They do a big sacrifice of Swerve essentially to help this Death Rider shit, and they basically set up their own All In thing. Their story is directly tied to him not winning the championship, right? Yeah. And then it's really interesting, man. So I'm not there with the it's time to praise Jon Moxley as this great champion who had this great vision for how he wanted to be a heel in the storyline. Look, by the time the building came, people wanted to see him get the fuck out of here, and lose. Credit to him, right? Yeah. And I guess that is the only way you can be a quote unquote heel in AEW, where you have to just do nothing cool and take the belt away and stuff like that. And people popped when they finally saw the belt. And there are elements of this that people will argue for, but man, I feel like they are outnumbered. I am surrounding them with facts. Right. I am surrounding them with information.
Yeah, and One Nation Radio, go through the tape. This is not some anti-Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose show. We have loved that dude sticking draws on this show for most of the AEW's run, just not the last year. And then he went out here and had an awesome fucking match, and then had an awesome Anarchy in the Arena. He did that. He's just not a good heel.
Yep.
I can't wait for him to be a babyface again.
Yeah, if you have like, it's almost like, yeah, man, if you take a shit in the ring, eventually somebody's gonna have to come clean it up, and we can be happy about it, right?
Right.
I think that's what happened here.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
You know, Hangman Page getting the belt, great for him.
Yep.
He's not this tragic figure anymore. Seems like, and I'm excited to see where now that he said he's happy. What does happiness look like for Hangman Page now? This is a new leaf for him, a new opportunity, if you will.
So after the show, he cuts a promo and said, "A lot of you guys kept believing me, and when there was no reason for you to believe in me." And he said, "I've been, a lot of things have happened over the last few years. Never thought I was going to get back to this point, but I can finally say that I'm happy." And I was like, this is him talking about he lost his smile again, and he got it back. He keeps cutting these Shawn Michaels promos. I was like, look, man, I get it. Sad boy. You were sad boy. So I'm like, look, man, I'm happy that you got your smile back. Whatever else, not that that big CM is gone, and the cloud. Remember one time you talking about clouds? The clouds is lifted. So yeah, we get it, man.
Dark cloud.
Yeah, so about dark cloud over his head or whatever else. Yeah, cloud's been lifted. I'm glad, whatever else. But I just find it funny that it's like the way he talks about his emotions on live promo. Sometimes it makes me think of like how it's how I imagine Orange Cassidy talk about his like not the delivery, but like the words. He's like, like Orange Cassidy won the title, he'd be like, and he say it with a stone face, today after defeating John Mox for the belt, I'm happy. And he doesn't smile. Like, this is exactly what Orange Cassidy would say. It's like, come on, man. Like, you the biggest, like, people love you. You got the most dedicated fan base in the whole fandom. And this all you giving them. I'm like, boy, if you, now I see why they be starving like this, because he be feeding them crumbs. And boy, when I say they was happy to see him, boy, they was happy that he won. Like, you mentioned Emmy, right? So, she had mentioned that someone had started to like chant about CM Punk, and that she wasn't having it. So I took her word for it. That,
she was gonna go beat him up, right?
Yeah, right. And so I took her word for it. So what's your man that was with Floyd that's in Atlanta? You just mentioned him earlier.
Ron,
that's right. I'm sorry. I almost called him Derek for some reason, but Ron mentioned it. He said, "Oh, you know that girl?" When we were talking, he's like, "Yeah, man, like someone's like, they crazy." He was like, he was like, "What you mean?" Like, they ran up on some fans like they was finna fuck him up. I was like, "Oh, she wasn't exaggerating. She was for real. Emmy for real about this Adam Page life. She was, her and the homegirl was finna fuck somebody up in the stadium after that match."
Hey, look, you saw them boots that Emmy had on. Look, she was prepared to kick ass, clearly. Yeah. Like, the boots not just made for walking.
Is that why Lyric had the boots on? She was ready to stomp somebody out too? Lyric had the boots on the ground.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. The female Hangman fan base was showing up ready to stomp somebody out.
They was there. They was there in full force, ready to put cowboy boots to ass.
Yeah, we're getting comments from Dex. He said he expected Rich to be the giant and James would be 5 feet. I said we've been hearing this forever. Like where you hear the voices, it feels like
maybe it's the voice too.
Maybe
it's the voice too. Yeah.
I'll say, damn, I ain't that short. Goddamn.
Yeah. He's like, Rich like 6'1".
I'm over the 6.
Yeah, Rich like 6'1". No, what's funny was Floyd said to me, he's like, "Damn, James, like, I met Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, I've met Floyd before I was, I wasn't into fitness as much as I was back then." And he was like, like I've met Hobbs a couple times. Like, you ain't that, but like he's barely bigger than you. I was like, okay. I never really thought about it, but I was like, if you had asked me, I'd be like, yeah, I imagine he's way bigger than me. But okay, whatever. I don't really be thinking about these sorts of things. Like, I'm used to being bigger than the wrestlers. I'm 6'4", especially in this era.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like they was ready to thump. Like I'm just glad we didn't have to find out. I'm just glad everybody was sick. Emmy wasn't playing.
Nah, not at all.
I'm sure there would have been plenty of help.
She summoned it. She had a damn AEW World Title belt buckle. I ain't never seen one of them before.
Amazing.
That's exclusive. It's one of those.
Amazing.
Where did you find this? This had to be commissioned.
Yeah. But overall, epic show, epic weekend, and it was like, man, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, and I would definitely go to All In again in America for sure.
Wasabi King made a great point.
But
This is where we.
One thing we did do all.
Oh, hold on. Before we sign off, we move over to the Clipse album. Wasabi King had a great point. We asked him like, why they all have all these boots, whatever else, and the simple answer is this: like. They're ready to put them on Tony Khan if he had fucked up the finish in the main event. That's absolutely right. Them boots was meant for Tony Khan's ass. So he made the right call or whatever else. Don't listen to Floyd. Floyd was talking about Moxley should retain. No, you need to keep that down quiet. And I hope it didn't happen, because if you had mission that out there after they had won, they would have put them boots on Floyd too. And I would have been like, Floyd, I love you, but I ain't gonna fight. But I disagree, and you need to leave. Because I ain't trying to fight the women out in Texas.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to fight a horde of white women in Texas. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make it back home. So yeah. Shout out to everybody we met out there. That was fun. I guess you want to talk about, because it's another part that was the soundtrack of our week out in Texas was the Clipse. Let God Sort Him Out album. Man, this album's great. So where do you want to start, Rich? Because we played it from the start in the car, and then like we had got basically like the track 9. I was like, well, damn, there's only like 12 or 13 joints on here, and like all of these go.
Yeah, man. It really, from the opening of the album where they're talking about the death of their parents, like that resonated with me on a certain level, and it was just like, wow, human clips. Like usually that's not like their thing. It's like this is the most humanized they ever kind of felt. And then like the beat was like amazing, like all these pianos and like this, like they did the same where they just dropped the drums out to the hook. And they had a lot of different portions on the album, or a couple of different ones. The Mike Tyson blow to the face being the most notable example, where they would just cut the beat essentially and then bring it back in and just like go. Yeah. I think this is we always hear a lot of talk about who's the greatest rap group of all time, and people easily say Outkast, or they throw Mobb Deep in there, they throw Run DMC, whoever the fuck, Tribe Called Quest. Like Clipse is in that conversation, like, and you come to me about the subject matter is limited, whatever, but it's like, nah, bro, what they do. The Locks, I always ride for the Locks. I feel like they get slept on,
but they're a trio, so because when you do the trio thing, now we have to account for Sheik Luch, and it's like he ain't Jadakiss and he ain't Styles P, so we gotta just put them down. We gotta put them over there and ignore them. Yeah.
But man, like the Clipse, like Pharrell sounded reinvigorated production wise, and it felt like some like late career thing. Because look, man, for me, Pharrell's like after like 2006, it was a lot of like hit and miss.
Very hit and miss.
He had to go to different genres, and he was
very hit and miss.
Talents changed.
He was very hit and miss, but most of the misses were in rap. His 2013 Renaissance around like Happy and That Girl album, like that's him as a singer. That ain't rap. Right? Like a lot of his struggles was like
hardcore hip. This was like the album that New York never made after like 2004, essentially. That's not Jay-Z or something like that. This was like the Clipse felt like the rightful heir, like, oh yeah, they were the ones that were supposed to keep it going for like, I know they're from Virginia, but them niggas are New York rappers. Let's call a spade a spade.
They're up north rappers. Like, while they're from Virginia, and like they'll have skits that are very southern in nature or whatever else on Lord Willing. Those aren't necessarily southern beats. Those are more up north experimental sounding beats. In like this, yeah. They're up for me. When I think of them, I place them as up north, or like kind of like J. Cole. Like they might rap over some southern stuff from here or there, but like you think of them as more like they fit more the aesthetic or musical aesthetic of East Coast rappers. So yeah man,
it really felt like, you know, like the production was peaking along with them. Tyler Creator came in, did his thing, and it was like it felt so good to kind of just hear them play off each other, and then like you haven't heard Malice in so long, and then like, you know, he was doing this thing as No Malice. It just wasn't the same. Like I think Pusha T's solo career was a lot like obviously more notable than Malice's.
That's true.
And
true.
This is strangely like a rap group that I never really compared to each other. Like, and I don't think there's there's not like just a eyes closed, hey, this is the best person. Like it's just, but you know, I saw a lot of love for Malice on this album.
Yeah. And I was always more of a, like when it comes to the legacy of Pusha T in Clipse, for me, it's always like, but I think Malice is better than him. Not by much, but just by a hair. Right? Like, because Malice is more believable. Like, there's just something to him that seems like, and maybe it's because of the like just how when you see them, like there's just something to a guy where a group of two rappers, they're basically damn near as good as each other. One guy does all the talking, and another person just sits back there and is like almost like a kung fu movie where a motherfucker's doing all the pomp and circumstance stuff, and one person has been the cut just chilling, man, a few words. And it's like, he's so much more measured. And like, for me, it's like, when he comes out there and he says that, you know, niggas' chains feel like oppression, I'm like, oh my God. Like, what the fuck? Like, he just out here just, I want to put Clipse in the Mount, I don't know if Mount Rushmore, but I want to put him in the pantheon. Like, of rappers. It's funny because, you know, people say all they do is rap about drugs. Is like, okay, bro, like they are absolutely in the pantheon of calling your ass broke on a record. They're up there with the luxury rappers like Biggie and Jay-Z, Rick Ross. But like when he's saying that when he's saying that he has a worker driving an Audi, it's like, oh man, these niggas are sick. These niggas are sick. Amazing.
I thought the mixing on this album was incredible. Like the way their vocals come out and sound, they just sound so big, so large for relatively like soft spoken kind of guys.
These aren't
when
yellers.
they get on those songs.
These are not yellers. Right.
Yeah. It's like they just overpower, and even like, you know, I just want to jump to Mike Tyson blow to the face. This beat is so overpowering. So like this feels like this is something that should be thrown on a Hot 97 for any person that calls himself a rapper. You should have to go rap on the Mike Tyson blow to the face beat and see what you got. Like this beat is so hard. Like it's like, it sounds like it's an original boom bap beat, which like I tried to make a lot of those in my life or whatever, but like the way that Pharrell did this shit was just like nothing I've ever heard him do before. And it just felt like this is set out of like, this is just a remix of something from like 1996, seemingly.
There's something to that. What I would say
is a
like,
modernized like 1996 beat.
Yeah. Like as far as Mike Tyson blow to the face, what's special about it is something that you don't get here. It's the restraint. Like when people talk about minimalist beats or whatever else, they're mostly talking about just like it's low, it's quiet, and it's not much energy to it. This is a beat that doesn't have many instruments in it. And if you were to track out every single thing and just loop it and try to listen to it for like, I don't know, let's say for 32 bars, eventually you would get tired of it. It's one of them beats where like if someone plays it, you're like, yeah, it sounds nice, but like how do I format this for a beat? The idea that they're going to basically rap like 8 bars or whatever else, a cappella, and then the beat kicks in, it just adds to it. And it's one of those old ways of doing the ear, making a song sound addictive to you that like we have lost in formatting of records for rap, especially rap records. Like, and this, you heard me talk about this before, like, the lost art of DJs being the producers and knowing how to format records for radio play and for the club is a lost art that we've lost with the iPodification of DJs, where everyone can be a DJ. It's too easy to be a DJ now. And so they didn't learn how to format these records, whatever else. And now it's changed now. Pharrell's not a DJ, but Pharrell has DJ tricks. Like if you listen to when's the last time another Clipse out record, there's scratches on there, right? And vocal flips that feel like scratches or whatever else. Because he grew up in that era when motherfuckers had DJing in the records, right? So like that idea isn't foreign to him. That like let them rap acapella, then we kick the beat in, and then we drop it again for when Malice comes in. It was awesome. So yeah,
that shit had me like ready to just pull the phone out and just.
Brother, I mean,
I wanted to rap too. Shit.
That shit took me to outer space. No. So there's also that. I also want to talk about the features on there. I think it should be noted that a lot of the names of the features on here, whether it's John Legend, whether it's Kendrick Lamar, whether it's Tyler the Creator, whether it's Nas, it's a number of people on here that are that kind of on the hey, let's get together and make songs and kind of like stand against some notable people in the rap industry because we've been at all of some of these people or we have something to say. So you know, as you mentioned, the intro, which is an incredible intro, it is really actually a courageous intro because that's really bold to go out there and do your emotional humanity song as the intro. Right, they talk about, you know, Push T talk about his mom, how you know, dealing with his mom's death, Mouse on his dad's death following in the next verse. John Legend there, notable person that has been on the outs with Kanye since Kanye became a Nazi. Right there, Pusha T, his history of good music, and now, you know, having to spend a bunch of money to get out of his deal with good music, doing the Rock Nation thing now. Doing all these press tour runs talking about, you know, me and Kanye can't be friends no more because Kanye knows he's very intuitive. He knows I don't respect him as a man anymore. Right? Like that's really cutting to say on a publication or media. So you got that second track, Whips and Chains with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, Pusha T, notable ass kickers of Drake. Now, don't get me wrong, this goes back.
The link up right
now,
there.
Don't get me wrong, this goes back, you know, years ago. Pusha T and Kendrick Lamar have done songs years in the past. This ain't some new or new thing. What is the one song where Kendrick Lamar's on the second verse and he says that he had a conversation with his dad about his dad washed up to be selling dope no more. Nostalgia. That's the song. Nostalgia.
Okay, yeah.
So they do it in, bro, Kendrick Lamar. Remember the Saigon in was it not the Saigon letter P song?
Yes.
I think Coogee Rap was on the second verse. That shit was awesome, right? He basically just raps while rhyming and using words in every bar that has letter P in it. He gets like 8 bars through his verse, and he does basically the letter G as lyrical exercise. It's fucking amazing.
It's like Jen. He basically like uses the prefix of Jen. Like
yeah. I just it's not something that's not something that's necessarily original, but I'm always impressed when people are like, I'm just going to do this lyrical exercise because that's what it literally is, a lyrical exercise. And like when people talk about, you know, songwriting and music, I'm always like, I don't give a fuck who you mention unless it's Stevie Wonder. Do not mention any of these niggas with elite rappers. Don't. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Like this is what all this genre has. All this genre has is its words. They can rely on melody a little bit. They can rely on energy a little bit in different sounding beats. But the subject matter the humanity, the social commentary. Look, I've listened to Marvin Gaye. What's going on? It ain't got shit on Good Kid, Mad City. I'm sorry. No. And I'm going further and further and further. Like, storytelling is just is a whole nother level. I'm sorry. But yeah, man, you got that with Kendrick Lamar. You got Tyler the Creator on his verse talking about, like, you know, you could either basically, like, along the lines of, you know, you could die a hero or live long to be a villain, and he basically's like, you live long enough to tap dance. And then he goes on to say, I'll probably outgrow my heroes. He's talking about Kanye. He's clearly talking about Kanye and punching at Kanye. That's another one. Whereas on the fuck, friends, I'm bringing on enemies of my former friends, or enemies of my enemies. And it's just like, then you bring on Nas when Nas had the whole situation with Kanye going on some fucking rant about how, you know, he was talking about Pusha T at the time. What I look like giving these classic albums to Tiana Taylor and Pusha T and Nas rapping off beat on my fucking shit. Oh, okay. All right, well, you don't have Pusha T to write your rhymes anymore, so now you're relying on Dave Blunt's for that bullshit.
Have at it.
Sorry?
I said, have at it.
Yeah, have at it with that. And Nas, once he immediately got away from you, you have this King Disease series. So, who was really the problem? So he comes on there, so Nas comes on Chandeliers. That beat is great. And then the beat where the horn edit part for Chandeliers
the Nas part
takes it a whole other level. Like, yo, man, this album's awesome. This album's awesome. I'm happy to listen to it.
Brewhaven, Dave Blunt is writing that all that new Kanye music, like Dave Blunt is writing all that shit.
Dave Blunt wrote that for Kanye.
Yeah.
Yes, Kanye's working with the mean niggas now because he's alienated himself from the whole industry because no one wants to work with a Nazi, especially a black one.
Yeah.
And he's independent now.
Well, yeah, man. He's just like me in a way, but I love this album.
I wouldn't even want to make any comparisons of Kanye West and Rich Lotta at all. I don't want to be doing that. But
yeah. But yeah, man, I love this album. I look forward to like sitting with it even more because it's like we were listening to it on the way. I was listening to it on the plane or whatever, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm just gonna get more the more I kind of sit with it, and I want to like the Clipse out. Like the Clipse albums make me want to listen to other Clipse albums. Like I never really loved Hell Have No Fury the way like everyone else did. Like they gave that shit like 5 mics. I was like, Lord Willing is way better than that album. Like what the fuck are you doing? Like and so like I always like Lord Williams in my regular rotation anyway. So I'm just gonna say it here. Can I get the Hangman Page edit over Virginia and then like him in the whole shit where he says the Virginia's for lovers, him in that shirt where he had it, and then hanging Moxley at the end and he said, "Where we hang niggas at?" Like I need somebody to put this together. Like I know I saw somebody do a Whips and Chains edit or whatever. I got tagged in on Twitter. But it was like, nah, man, I need the Hangman Page over Virginia. Like, I'm for Virginia. We ain't shit to do with Cook. Like, we need that for the zeitgeist. Let's just say that. But, yeah, I guess that you know, we can leave it there, man.
Okay, y'all. Thanks for listening. That's the end of the show. If you are watching from the stream, be sure to go to the show notes when the podcast is up and go to the Red Circle link to donate there. And check out our Chop Tees link, and you can check out 1H Radio merch made by Chop Tees, and be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides 1H Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, I almost said Rick and Clive, that's crazy. All Things Elite, AEW Match Guide, Wrestling Hour with Chris Things, MSW The Adventure, the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast, and Total Talk. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Fuck the Fed.